Bonsoir à tous, bienvenue pour cette deuxième soirée ciné-débat d'Essentiel News. Ce soir, c'est vraiment une soirée très spéciale, tant par le sujet que par les invités, même si on a quelques-uns que vous connaissez déjà. Alors, on a choisi de passer Spellers, ce documentaire en amont de 2 journées sur l'autisme et les atypies qui se dérouleront le 25 avril à Bruxelles et le 26 avril à Paris. Et l'un des sujets que l'on va aborder, c'est le trouble du langage, de tout ce que l'on peut faire plus appliquer, que ce soit un soutien d'ordre plutôt médical pour améliorer les capacités motrices et les fonctions cérébrales, ou cette nouvelle approche que vous allez découvrir ce soir dans le film. Alors, j'ai la chance d'être en compagnie du Dr Louis Fouché, que vous connaissez déjà, anesthésiste, animateur et surtout une des grandes figures qui se bat pour la liberté de soigner et qui sera aussi le modérateur de ces 2 journées à Bruxelles et Paris. Bonsoir Louis.
Bonsoir Senta, bonsoir à tous ceux qui nous écoutent et à tous ceux qui sont là. Un grand honneur et un plaisir, et surtout pour un film qui ramène de l'espoir et de la joie dans le monde médical. Vous savez, on est souvent dans un truc assez sombre où les pronostics sont durs, où on raconte avec un grand pathos et des violons tout ce qui va mal. Et là, pour une fois, de manière low-tech, qui coûte pas grand-chose à part des humains, on peut aider vraiment des gens. Et voilà, ce film m'a beaucoup touché. Je suis ravi de le revoir ce soir avec vous, et j'espère que voilà, ces feel good movie, comme on dit, sont très importants pour susciter de l'espoir et dire à tous ceux qui ont autour d'eux des gens autistes, non-verbaux, que peut-être il faut pas baisser les bras, qu'il n'y a pas rien à faire, il y a plein de pistes à explorer.
Merci beaucoup. Voilà, vraiment, c'est un grand honneur pour nous aussi, voilà, de pouvoir être avec toi pour ces 2 journées. Je vous présente aussi Caroline Duchène, une amie de longue date, qui est une fille autiste non parlante. Non, c'est Caroline. Voilà.
Oui.
Je ne sais pas si on peut voir.
Enchantée.
Oui, bonsoir Caroline. Voilà, un petit mot déjà à propos de ce film, puisque c'est un peu grâce à toi qu'on a la chance de le voir.
Ah oui, non, c'est grâce à vous, et merci infiniment pour les sous-titres en français, parce que c'est un travail énorme, je sais, qui a été fait pour ce soir, et merci infiniment pour ça. Moi, oui, c'est un film qui a été hyper touchant pour moi, pour ma fille. En fait, ça fait plusieurs années que je fais tout pour lui enseigner ça, en tout cas épeler pour communiquer. C'est pas facile de première facilité, surtout quand on n'a pas on va dire, de professionnels autour de nous en francophonie. Mais voilà, on essaye aujourd'hui maintenant de démarrer ça pour en former le plus possible. Et en tout cas, dernièrement, voilà, depuis 2025, on fait tout pour que ça puisse démarrer ici, qu'on ait des spellers francophones, qu'on ait vraiment tous ces jeunes qui puissent communiquer entre eux aussi. Et comme ça se développe aux États-Unis, pour moi, c'est vraiment un changement de paradigme sur l'autisme non-verbal, parce que c'est encore classé dans le retard mental sévère, modéré à sévère en tout cas. Et donc, on n'espère pas en fait qu'il y a toute cette intelligence derrière. Or,
n'en dis pas trop.
Voilà, désolée,
voilà, les gens pourraient voir. Voilà, faut pas faire de spoiler, voilà, comme on dit.
Voilà.
Merci beaucoup. Et puis, bien sûr, je vous présente mes 2 invités d'honneur des États-Unis. Voilà, ils sont en Californie, je pense, tous les 2. Tout d'abord, Dawnmarie Gaivin, qui est la fondatrice de cette méthode, et que je vous en dis pas trop parce que vous allez pas mal la voir dans le film. But quand même un petit mot. Hello, Dawnmarie. How are you? I think you can turn your microphone on.
Yes. I'm so sorry. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you very much for everything you do. And where are you now? Also in California?
In California, I'm in San Diego, down south, and enjoying the weather here.
Voilà. Donc tout à l'heure, je ferai les traductions. Pour l'instant, voilà, elle nous dit bonsoir et bonjour pour elle, puisque elle est du côté de San Diego. Et puis Brian Hooker. Hello, Brian.
Hi, Senta. It's an honor to be here. Thank you so much. I'm here as a dad of a 28-year-old, my 28-year-old son who is a speller.
Voilà, donc Brian, qui sera quand même un des deux invités d'honneur de ces 2 journées avec Marie-Hollande également. Brian Hooker est directeur scientifique de Children's Defense, l'association fondée par Robert Kennedy Jr. aux États-Unis. Et donc, il a aussi, ce soir, il est là aussi surtout en tant que père d'un fils autiste de 28 ans et qui est aussi un des fameux spellers. Et il a vraiment une expérience formidable à nous raconter, lui aussi. Voilà. Et puis, bien moi, voilà, je pense qu'on ne va pas prolonger tout ça, on ne va pas vous faire attendre trop longtemps. J'ai la fierté quand même de vous annoncer que ce soir, c'est la première du film en français. On l'a fait traduire spécialement pour vous, pour ce soir, pour Essentiel News, pour le congrès, pour qu'on puisse faire connaître cette méthode. Ce sont des sous-titres et c'est un choix qu'on a fait qui est délibéré plutôt qu'un doublage parce qu'on pensait, et vous le comprendrez d'après le contenu, que c'était vraiment important de garder les voix originales. Donc, on vous souhaite un excellent film. N'hésitez pas à mettre déjà les commentaires pendant le film et puis on se retrouve juste après. Le film dure environ, je pense 1h20, c'est ça? Dawnmarie, how long is the movie? An hour and 20 minutes? Something like that? Okay.
Yeah.
Oui,
Voilà. 1 hour 30.
Voilà. Donc, on se retrouve dans 1h30 vers 21h45. À tout à l'heure, merci beaucoup et puis je vous souhaite bien du plaisir.
Bon film du dimanche.
Ouais.
What if they've been wrong about every single one of them? What if they're all walking around without the ability to speak, but brilliant or at least cognitively normal? How many people are we talking about now? And how are they living their lives? And how have we missed this? And how long is it going to take us to admit we've missed this so we can help as many of them as possible?
It's a new adventure. That's basically what I always tell Aiden when we do this something new. I said, okay, we're on another adventure, because we've been on adventures before where we've tried different therapies and different treatments, and the two of us will kind of leave the rest of the family and go off and try these new adventures, I say to him. So far, we haven't seen a lot of results, but I'm always hopeful. I don't lose hope on that. And there is a time where it's like, okay, is any of this really going to help? Maybe I should just accept things the way that they are. But then, I don't know. I just don't see it that way. I've always thought that Aiden was going to find a way, that there's going to be something that he's going to do. It might not be the way in which I had hoped for or what I had originally expected, but I think he's going to find a way. what you really feel and what you like, what you think. You know, what are your philosophies? What's your favorite music? Yeah, it's like you guys, the non-speakers, you guys are on the precipice of something really big, I think. Like a new frontier.
What do you think? What do you think of these new letterboards? Go for it. G, keep going. G, Q, keep going, Dory. R, and keep going. Move your eyes. I see you moving. E, and eyes have to move around. G, R, E. What makes sense? What makes sense? G, R, E. Keep your eyes. Ready? Leave me. Go. G, R, E. A. G, R, E, A. Great. Great. L, N. Make it make sense. I, and. Look for it, look for it, look for it, look for it, look for it. F, and. Great life. Great life. What? I, and. Look for it, look for it, look for it, look for it. I, O, doesn't make too much sense. Keep going. Hold on. Great life. I, started I. Started I. So I have that I. Keep going. Is. Great life is. G. G. Started G. G, and. Keep going. Make it make sense. G, J doesn't make sense. So G. Great life is. What? You got this, buddy. Trust yourself. I love that. Great life is. Look at me for a second. Can you put your eyes up here? Thank you. Great life is. Now look at the board. Go. Oh, A. Keep going. A, and. H, and. Keep going. Keep going. E, and. Move your eyes. Get that. A, and. Move your eyes. Move your eyes. Move your eyes. D. Great life is ahead. Was my question. Cool. Okay.
Sorry. Just. No, I'm okay. I just. He always looks at like. He always gets concerned. Yeah. So I'm just trying not to. So, all right, Aiden. So we got some new letterboards, huh?
I believe you. I thought he was looking at the words and spelling them to you.
You can't see them at all.
I'm already astonished.
What we do is we take the movement out of the fine motor of the digits and put it in the gross motor of the arm because that's so much easier to control. And he took to it like a champ. I mean, he rarely, if he missed a letter, it was generally a one-off, or he was at the opposite end, and that's just kind of a starting at the wrong end. Plus, there's a really strong draw to go to that left side of the board because he's been taught all his life. Start left, go right. Speech is 100% motor. Language is 100% cognitive, and you can tell they're in two different areas of the brain. Speech is up here, language is down here. So just because the motor and the speech is affected does not mean the language is affected. So I didn't ask those questions for comprehension. I asked them to give him an opportunity to practice spelling so I could coach the motor of his spelling.
Mm-hmm.
There's never any doubt in my mind when someone walks into my room that they can and will spell for me, that they can and do want to learn.
Yes, I-W-A-N. I want to. T-E-L-L-M-Y. My. F-U-T-T-R. My future. S-E-L-F-T-O-N-E-V-E-R. G-I-V. Go ahead. E-U-P-O on T-H. Go ahead. E-O-T-H-E-R-N-O-N-S. Go ahead. P and then E and then A and then K and then E and then R and then S. I want to tell my future self to never give up on the other non-speakers. I was really dark, dude. That was a really hard fall and winter, and I was starting to fray at the seams, really, about Jamie's future and just where is this all going? And I've been fighting cognitive dissonance ever. As you know, what you're presenting is an incredibly radical thought. It's a beautiful thought.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to believe you. But it's a wonder I'm not on the ground weeping in the fetal position. I'm just going to go with the flow right now.
Yeah. But it is pretty amazing. And sometimes I say, why would you believe this one crazy lady sitting here in front of you versus all the people you've heard? But there's a real logic to it if you back into it. All tests of cognition, of motor, of academics, language, cognition, academics, IQ, require motor. Every single one.
No, I'm...
So you either have to speak it or you have to do it. Put the thing in the thing. Touch this, touch that. Give me the this, give me the that. But we never teach the motor. We do not teach the motor.
For some people, it's hard for them to believe that letterboarding is real. What would you say to those people?
Yes. Y-O-U. J-U-S. Just. N-E-E. Need. T-O-2. O. Go ahead. P. And then E. And then N. And then Y. And then O. And then U. And then R. And then go ahead. E. Y. And then E-S. Yes, you just need to open your eyes.
The early research in autism focused on the cognitive disabilities, and that is mostly due to the researchers being psychologists or psychiatrists who focus primarily on the cognitive aspect. The assumption that individuals right from the get-go who have autism also have a cognitive disability is completely inaccurate. And the reason is because of what's called apraxia. And apraxia is an inability to perform on demand a specific movement, even though it is fully understood. Traditional assessments neurological testing, academic testing, all focus on pointing, writing, or speaking, which all are motor skills. When we start to address the motor skills by practicing functional-based movements, purposeful movements, by practicing and coaching their body, they're then able, through neuroplasticity, to build those motor skills in order to be proficient in the things that they want to do. Is it an easy process? Absolutely not. Is it something that they're all of a sudden going to have perfect motor skills? Not necessarily. However, they're now going to be able to, one, communicate, two, ride a bike when they've never been able to ride a bike before. It takes some longer than others, but with that perseverance that most, if not all of them have, it won't be a problem.
If you're looking at autism through the lens of it's a social deficit model or it's a cognitive disability model, then you see what you believe. But if you actually understand it's not those things, it's a sensory motor processing challenge, suddenly you're like, oh, maybe what I'm asking right now is for you to do something purposefully with your body. That's the problem, right? That you need me to coach you through that, not that you don't understand what I asked you to do.
You hiding from us? You can't hide from us.
Mm-hmm.
Is it hard for you sometimes to understand where your hand is using the letterboard?
S-E-N-S-O-R, sensory, S-T-I-M-U, L-I, F-A-S-S, A-S-S-A-U-L, assault, sensory stimuli, assault. Keep going.
Okay.
M.
Okay.
You're good. Yeah. My, which one? G or B? B. Can we hold the pencil like that? Go ahead. I got the B. Keep going. O, D, move your eyes. Y, assault my body. Eyes. C, O, N, S. T, that makes sense. Go, go, go. Go, 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 go. A, get it. N, T, L, constantly. Okay. Sensory stimuli assault my body constantly. T, H, E, S, E, these. Hold your pencil like that. These, B, R, U, S, H, E, S. These brushes, H and E and L and P, help, M and me. Go ahead. F and E and L, feel, M, my, feel my. In a second, finish the sentence. H, finish your sentence. A, stay here. And don't finish, wait, finish the word. I hate it when you leave the word. H-A-N.
Almost done.
N, D, S. Yeah. Assault. Sensory stimuli assault my body constantly. These brushes help me feel my hands. I would say growing up, I was the eternal optimist. In fact, I used to say my political party was possibilitarian. I'm like, I can just, whatever, anything's possible, really optimistic. And when Evan was diagnosed with autism, I totally just took it in stride. Like you just said, my kid has red hair and blue eyes. I'm like, okay. Like, so what do I do? What does that mean?
Death.
Good job. There he is. I swim with Dad. I wasn't discouraged by it. I was thrown off. Like, this isn't what I was planning on doing. I didn't think I was going to raise a kid with special needs, but I also wanted to always be a special ed teacher. So it was sort of like in alignment with who I was. But when Trey was diagnosed a year later, it blew my mind. And I literally sat in the rocking chair in his nursery for 2 days, like almost catatonic.
Trey's playing what?
Trey's learning how to play Jenga. Wait, this one. Try this one. Oh, it's gonna fall. Do it again. Oh! Sorry. I just like shut down. And I remember their dad finally coming in after a couple days, and he's like, Dawnmarie, like, I get it. Like, I totally get it, but we need you. Like, you can't do this. Like, you have to like snap out of this and like come help me. And what was happening for me at that moment was just massive overwhelm. And I lost hope that I would ever be enough for them. Like, it was a lot. I'd already spent a year helping Evan and saw how intense the level of intervention was to get just at that time moments of eye contact or minutes of his gut feeling okay. And I thought, wow, like, I'm working around the clock for this one kiddo, and now I've got 2 of them. Like, how is this going to happen? So in that moment, I thought, we're screwed. Like, this isn't going to go well. Then the universe has started opening up all these paths, and now I'm this practitioner, and now I'm helping all these other families. And I spent 3 years trying to teach Evan how to spell before I would introduce a letterboard to him, because I thought he had to know how to spell in order to do it.
Yeah. Love. Look, stop tripping on a regular, and I promise to work in the flow better, yeah. This hunger in again, my lunch that from Jennifer. Things stick even if you got your ready, yeah. Breaking on things that's so broken on the inside, and internalize every word I never meant right. Perception bent right, falling off the cliffside, but about the rep. No, I've been nice, I've been tight, I'm a reckless Gemini. Probably die young if this rap biz never tried. Somebody come get me, I brought it out with me. I gotta act, it's real in a whoa, Vicky. 2 balls popping like it's so Ricky. Lil' Pat got you coffee, Mr. Poe with me. I stay litty, I'm getting the straight fitty. Giving too much pity to those that don't feel me. Damn, look, send a fam to the DR. Bringing straight love, just showing who really we are. One day I'll do about 10 just for the PR. To blow across the globe just to see how I be on. I keep on, young Dawn, no Teflon. Double play, it's always down to leech on. Stop riding back and forth, seesaw. Knocking on doors, just know I got the key law. Talk big, come at angles. Yeah, young Sway, read the label. Blessed, straight from the manger. Glory to my God, bigger than the paper. You know where I stay, you know what I do. Flexing on them with the sweats, get comfortable. Don't flinch, just testing you. Faded at the park, and I'm gone, Mr. Babe Ruth. Mr. Big Shot. You can get rocked, you can get popped, Mr. Tic-Tac, finna blow, yeah, I'm pissed off, out this neutron blast off, I've been assessing another lover, shame on my size, never eating and never pleasing a humble pie, starvation and motivation, a different lie, maybe hungry and never settle for nothing lie, look, if it ain't real then it's...
Alright, what do you want to tell again? Yeah. I, C, A, N, T, I can't. I know this board's a little different, the stencils. Can't. W, G, A, I can't wait. T, keep looking at the board. T and O and C and, put your hand back. O and M and, I'll find it, buddy. B and A and C and K. I can't wait to come back. So I'm wondering if you have any thoughts on that quote, and if you could make a comment about the brain-body disconnect in advocacy for yourself or other non-speakers, what would that be? I might start from the top. You got this. Let's start from the top. Ready? Go. I and, L and, I and, V and, get it? E and, I lived. In, S and, I and, L and, E and, N and, C and. I lived in silence. F and, O and, 4. I lived in silence for. Go for it. A, L, all, M, all my. I lived in silence for all my. Eyes on the board? Whichever one you want. L and, I and, F and, life. U and, N and, T and, I and, until. L and, A and, S and, T last. M and, O and, N and, T and, H until last month. I lived in silence for all my life until last month. Oop, no way. Reality. F and O and 4. M, Y, S, E, L, F for myself, A, N, D and O, T, H, E, R, S, and others. All right, let me read it for myself and others. So I lived in silence for all my life until last month. Other than a finite number of my family members, most people thought I was dumb. I hated being talked to like I was a baby. Now I'm going to change the reality for myself and others. Well done. Well done. I heard you say that. That was so good too.
Communication is everything. And without any real means for Cade to tell me anything, if he's hitting himself, why he's hitting himself. Is he hungry? Does he have a headache? Does he feel terrible? You know, is he constipated? Why are you doing that? Why are you upset? And unable to tell me anything. What does he want to eat? Do you like what we're doing? What do you want to do? I mean, his only real ability to communicate with me would be either to make noises, which were, are you happy about that or upset about that? Because sometimes it's hard to figure out if it's a happy or upset. So yeah, we had no real reliable form of communication. And we had to just basically guess for 20 years.
Cade, you've gone from the laminate.
Yeah, laminate.
Laminate.
Well, actually first the stencil.
The stencil.
Stencil. To the laminate. To the keyboard.
I did.
He did. He went from all those.
I'm good at this and will become independent. What do we need to do to help non-speakers? I think knowing that we are intelligent and treating us with respect helps.
That's right. Why did it take my good friend from Portland to call me and say, hey, listen to this breakthrough miracle for our son? Why is it that these parents around the world are having to get to each other and tell each other? Why isn't science, why aren't they looking for how to really help our kids? You know, that's the thing that's the most upsetting. He should have been He could have done this years ago. He's told me that.
All I want is research to happen. It's not discredit. As a special educator, everything I do should be evidence-based, and it's not an evidence-based procedure. For an evidence-based procedure that we can do, you have to have 16 studies by like a peer-reviewed program, and they don't have that. Well, I think they need to be interested in anything. That's why we're innovative. And so we'll follow the research, see if it comes out. If it does, it's a game changer for kids.
Where are we going today? All right. Hey, Madison, where are we going today?
Madison,
you want the swing?
What are you doing today? Where's Madison go?
She wants to swing. Hey, Madison, what do you got there? Hey. Hey. Madison. Madison. Hey, what you doing? Hey. Let's say the camera. Did we go to the car wash today? Here, look at Daddy. Look at Daddy. Come on. Hi.
Hi.
You're really engrossed in those toadstools.
Do you go to a public school, or did you go to a public school? There's a couple people that we're going to interview where their schools wouldn't let them use a letterboard. They didn't believe in letterboarding.
Ready?
Tell me, super reader.
A.
Crying.
R. O. U. N. D. Around. A. G. E. Age.
I can see you.
To around age 22. I. F and I and N and I and S and H E and D. I finished. P.
Try again. Bubbles.
Go ahead, babe. P U. Good. Keep going. You got it, G. B. L. I. I finished public. S.
No.
Get your eyes there. C and H and O. O. I finished public school. I. M and I and S. S. E. D. I missed. O. U. T. I missed out. O. On.
Wing it.
R and E and A and real.
Where's Stella?
G and O. O. I. Keep going. Good. Real good. C and.
I'm sad.
Go ahead. C and O and N and T. E and N and T. Around age 22, I finished public school and missed out on real good content. Yeah. I'm going to guess some of your emotions right now are because of that experience too. But you can tell me if that's true or not. I could be projecting.
Dawn, go get in the bus. There you go. Hello.
There we go.
Madison, look at mommy. It's your first day of school. There's the kindergarten. There it is. Hey, Madison. You going to school today? Say yes.
Yeah.
You're going to have fun, huh? Say hi.
But they don't have me. They don't even talk to me. They forgot all about me.
This is your class, and you had snack here.
Yeah, I like it when my mom remembers me.
You think you can say Miss Marner? No. Like,
I'm Miss Marner. Hi, I'm
get you
Madison.
so we can.
You say, hi, I'm Madison. Mrs. Johnson. Remember Johnson from BB?
So how does that make you feel as a parent to realize that all these years she was in school and, you know, she was truly saddened?
Yeah, there's a famous quote, Charles Dickens, best of times, worst of times. And it was actually in the book Underestimated, which I parallels our experiences 100% as parents. It was wonderful. We're excited the first time you see it, first time you understand it. But then you start thinking about, oh my gosh, this poor, my child had to go through these experiences. Teachers who didn't understand, that thought she didn't have any abilities whatsoever, probably went through situations where maybe other young people teased her, were mean to her, and she had no way to be protected. Also, all the things that we did that were probably wrong when we should have been doing things to encourage her. So that's the downside. She recognizes it was there, and she recognizes, and she understands that people didn't understand. Most people just don't understand.
So, Maddie, thanks for being here once again. Why do you want to do the interview over?
I W A S I was E M B, keep going, A R R, good, A and S S E D, embarrassed, B, you got it, by, M, my, S and C and R and I and P and T and I and N and G by my scripting.
Do you have like a goal in life, a mission in life? What is your dream?
I'd, L, O, V, move your eyes, L-O-V, here, pull back, L-O-V, good job. I'd love, T, 2, go ahead, A, D, V, O, C, A, T, to advocate, F, O, 4, S, I know what you want, S, 2, find it, S2C, I, N, S, C, H, O, O, L, S. I'd love to advocate for S2C in schools.
And what needs to change?
T, E, B, A, C, H, E, R, teachers, N, E, need, T, 2, S, T, O, stop what? U, N, D, E, under, E, S, T, I, M A T I N, underestimating, A U T I S T. Great. I C S. Teachers need to stop underestimating autistics. And what about specifically, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And what about, mic drop, what about specifically like for unreliable speakers, right? You've talked about how your speech is not reliable. How would you suggest teachers not underestimate students like you? T, H, E, they, N, E, E, they need, T, O, 2, S, T, A, R, start, go ahead, P, R, E, S, U, M, I, N, go ahead, presuming, U, P, presuming up, A, keep going, G, go ahead, A, I, again, A, N, keep going, D, and, A, G, keep going, A, I, N. They need to start presuming up again and again.
It's hard to put into words the feelings that we have as a result of this small, seemingly small thing happening. And we're amazed that it hasn't happened before. What took it so long? I mean, it's not, I don't understand really in a way, because it's fairly simple and straightforward, why we haven't had this solution before and why no one's figured it out. But now that we have it, it should be fully embraced by the school systems, by therapists everywhere. There should be research, academic literature focused strictly, specifically on this area to help promote it. Because I can guarantee you, parents, when they see this and they watch when they watch their children for the first time speak and articulate their thoughts and feelings and emotions, it's something else.
I would like to request one thing of you. Can you take a few seconds to take a quick intellectual snapshot mentally of this child? And you can raise your hands and feel free to be honest if you observe any one of these things. For example, do you see a child with a low IQ, a child with cognitive challenges, a child with learning disabilities, or even a child who should, focus on learning functional life skills as opposed to academics? Any of these? No judgment, you can raise your hands. Okay. Some of you. And maybe some of you are shy and suspect that this is a trick question. Well, Sid does happen to be my son, so yes, sort of. I remember the day that I walked into my son, who was then all of 6, into his classroom, and I saw him passively strapped to a chair for no reason, just cause. How many of you think that this treatment has at least in part to do with an intrinsic lack of respect for the child? Assumption of intelligence brings respect, whether that intelligence is on display or not. I'm going to say that second phrase again, whether that intelligence is on display or not. Assumption of intelligence brings respect, and respect brings dignity. Go ahead and refer back to that snapshot you just took mentally. Reassess.
Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence, right? Just the absence of science doesn't mean that it's not true. So, we might have to wait until the science comes out. when a child is communicating, you don't need the science. So, this is one of the cases where everybody keeps saying science. Science is stupid to wait for. I don't want the science. I want Sid to talk. I don't care. I'm a scientist. I don't care about the science. I know that Sid is talking. And like Sid says, if you don't believe it, go get a life.
Can you control your thoughts?
Okay, that's interesting. I'd like to know as well. I am, keep going. I am I think that was an M, but double check. Not an M, R. I'm a R. Go fix it. Okay, are you I? Keep moving. Are you D? Okay. D? Sit, look and go. Are you DDE? R? Rudder? And then what? L? E? S? S. Yes, okay. I'm a rudderless. S? H? I? Ship. I? In? T? H? In the? S? E? In the sea? O and? Look please. O F in the sea of? T? H? Keep moving. O? O V? T H O? Keep moving. O U? G and? H? Sea of thought. Done. I'm a rudderless ship in the sea of thought. I think we're paying too much attention to validate something that is working for thousands of kids. These are not 3 outliers that are trying to prove this to the world that, autistic kids that are non-speaking can communicate. This is magic. Thousands of kids are communicating. Are all the parents fools? Are we trying to live wishful thinking? No. So we're not in some mass hoax to deceive the whole country. I mean, what's anybody going to gain by this?
Vincent definitely puts extra pressure on himself to prove to people that these are his words. When he works in front of anyone, he becomes a perfectionist, that he has to do it without any mistakes, which we keep trying to teach him to relax. Everybody has a typo when they type. Everybody flubs up their words. Like I stumble on my words all the time. It's the same thing. He's such a free bird now because he keeps saying he was like in a cage, and he's really, truly dedicated to helping other non-speakers see you can do this, I can do this, we can do this, and we need to come together and show the world that we have a voice.
What is the best message that we can put out there for non-speakers?
I want them to have hope.
Why is hope important?
dark tunnels are illuminated.
So this is your message to the people that don't believe that you're typing your own words. What would your message be to those that have disbelief?
I think judgments are my fuel to persevere.
You can't unsee what you've seen with these spellers. And I believe that, presuming competence is critical right off the bat. 5 years old, we should have all been presuming competence in our kids, and we should have been encouraging them, telling them we knew that they were in there. It's time to shift that whole paradigm. Like, we need to make a shift to say, start talking to your kids the way you would any other kid, right off the bat. So when I started to see the growth that Vincent was having with Spelling to Communicate and the depth of these conversations, I knew I needed to start sharing it with some of my friends who had kids that were similar to Vincent. And sometimes I get a little thought and I can't get it out of my head. And JB kept coming into my head. I just really had this drive to get his son Jamie to try what Vincent was doing. So I sent him a text and I'm like, hey, how are you? What are you doing?
It was confusing because she basically said, Vince has learned how to communicate, check this out. And then all of a sudden there's just these screenshots of this insanely complex language that purportedly her son is the one making these words. And so I'm literally in a state of confusion. What is going on? And I literally sort of text back to her like, WTF question mark. Like, what the hell is going on? What are you talking about? And she starts sending me more screenshots of the things Vince has said. And this is like complex language that somebody in college or beyond would kind of make, right?
I was like, yep, that's Vincent. And I'm pretty sure Jamie can do the same. And I started to tell him about Spelling to Communicate. And he said, can I call you?
I walk into a private room. I hit my phone and I call her. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? She says, there's this communication method. It's called Spelling to Communicate. And Vince started doing it about 4 months ago. And we used to think that his most advanced words were, I want juice. And now you're seeing what he's writing.
And then we had a conversation. He went home. And then he gave me a video of his son to say, honey, this is Jamie. He's not going to be able to communicate like that. And he sent me the video and I knew right then. I'm like, yep, he's going to do it.
Autism can take you as a parent to a really dark place. The future is really, really, really scary. And everything is different when your child can communicate. Everything is different. And I sometimes shudder to imagine where we would be as a family, where I would be as a person, where Jamie would be if we hadn't had the luck of having another parent reach out to us and encourage us to give this a try. I asked Jamie about Honey the other day, and he said, Honey saved my life. He understands the gravity of what gift her selflessness gave him. And I would say Honey didn't just save Jamie's life. Honey saved our family. Honey saved our family, really. you walk into the room to begin your first spelling to communicate session, the thing that really blew my mind was when Elizabeth Vossler turned to Jamie and she said, "I know you can do this. I know how smart you are."
Yeah, and I already know you're smart. You don't have anything to prove to me, okay? And I'm going to teach you how to do something new, totally new, which may feel a little bit weird at first. Okay, so... I know.
I really think about that. I've even watched the videotape back. I don't think anybody has ever said that to Jamie before. So on the first day, I'm texting Lisa going, "Holy shit, he's spelling words." My mind is already blown. We get into the second day, and they're doing a lesson on plants. She asks him to spell carnivore. No problem, spells carnivore. Then she says, "Jamie, spell the opposite of carnivore." And I'm like, wait a minute, whoa, in my head. She didn't say that word in the lesson. That word that is the opposite of carnivore. She didn't say that word. He spells herbivore perfectly. And I literally, it's on video, I go, "Excuse me, was that word in the lesson?" And she's like, no, that's what we call prior knowledge. I think that was where I went from wanting to believe to going, okay, we're really on to something here.
When the text started to trickle in that like this is happening, like this is true for Jamie, it's happening, it's real. You know, you let out a little bit more hope. And then pretty soon, you know, I don't know what, I think it was probably that first week with Dawnmarie, like then we just let the floodgates go. It was such a magical time. I mean, it's so emotional. But I wouldn't trade it. I'd go back there even right now. Because it was the very beginning of believing that his whole life is gonna change. You know, he's gonna be okay. It's all gonna be okay. He's gonna be fine.
The first time I saw Jamie using the letterboard was in a video sent to me at the start of my lacrosse season in 2020. It was right before like we had played a scrimmage. Usually I try to get like serious and get a little angry before, and I broke down in my locker room. I think it's the best thing that's ever happened to this family.
Find it. Up. Good. L.
How have you seen the relationship change for Jamie's brother and sister now? It's obviously the whole dynamic of the family's changed.
There's so many, but one of them is just knowing that, yeah, your brother loves you and has loved you all this time. And it may not have felt like that. And I know that you did feel like that at times. You know, when he would get agitated or mad, it's scary sometimes to be around, especially for a younger sibling. And for our daughter, it was, you know, and I think she doubted if he loved her, even what he might have known about her. And Jamie is so loving. And so for her to get that feedback, like, you care about me, you know me, has just, I mean, opened up everything.
Yes, go ahead, A-M-E, I named M-Y-S-E-L, I named myself N-O-T-O-R-I-O-U-S-L-Y-S-T-R-O-N. I named myself Notoriously Strong, B-E-C-A-U-S, because I, H, A, V, have, A, L, W, go ahead, A, Y, always, B, and then E, and then E, and then N, and then A, and then F, and then I, and then G, and then H, and then T, and then E, and then R. I've always been a fighter, E, V, E, even, I, if, N, O, N, E, go ahead, K, and then N, and then E, and then W. Yes, I name myself notoriously strong because I have always been a fighter, even if no one knew.
I just want you to read this. The letter that Jamie wrote.
Oh, you bastard. All right. You ready? Dear Bibi, happy birthday. I love you. No words can make you understand how much I appreciate you. You have always believed in me and have never given up on me. You are a special grandpa, and I'm lucky to have you in my life. You've always been the one not to let my disability get in the way of loving me. You are a great person. You must know how much I love you. I hope you have a great birthday. Love, Jamie. That's a kid. That's him.
So when you got that letter, how was that?
Weepy. Weepy. I mean, I just, I spent a lot of time with Jamie when we lived in Oregon. I drove him to school 2-3 times a week, pick him up. Spent a lot of time just, I tried to. But to realize that all that time, all that effort was appreciated was just, I just weepy.
How exciting is it now that you can communicate with your grandpa?
Yes, I-A-I-M-G-L-A. I'm glad, T-H-A, that, H-he, K-N-O-W, knows, W-H, who, I-A-M, B-E, F-O-R-E-D-I-E-S. I am glad that he knows who I am before he dies. You're a good man.
The East Coast-West Coast hip-hop rivalry was essentially a feud between Bad Boy Records and Death Row Records. Oakland-based rapper Tupac Shakur then kicked off the rivalry with Biggie by alleging that he and Puff Daddy were behind Tupac being robbed and shot 5 times in the lobby of a New York recording studio. Biggie's track, Who Shot Ya, was released soon after Tupac's attempted murder, although Bad Boy Records denied involvement and claimed the song was recorded months prior to the incident. Still, the hip-hop community interpreted it as a taunt at Tupac. What do you think? Check it out over here. Do you see that picture of Puff Daddy up there? Yeah, then you too. Do you see the picture of Puff Daddy? What adjective comes to mind? What do you think of when you look at that? Good. Ready? Go. Go ahead. G-A. Get it. Come on. Yeah. G-R. Get it. Find your letter. And keep going. Enter.
Gross.
What do you think of when you look at that picture of Puff Daddy? Here, come up here so I can spell. Come on. What do you think of that? T-N-H-N-E, the G. Keep G-R-S. Gross. P-A. R. The gross part is his S-M-E S-M-I. Keep going. R. His smirk. Stay here. His smirk. W and H and I and L and while. P L A N N I N. While planning. What? Stay in your chair. You're doing great. T and U and P and A C. Yeah. While planning Tupac's. What? I or D E M I S E. The gross part is his smirk while planning Tupac's demise. I and is E. Good. Good. F E. Keep going. Rise up.
My brother Evan is feeling anxious.
Yeah. How's that making you feel?
Yes.
Get it. And keep going, buddy. And, yep. And you're so sweet, Jamie.
Like the worst friend because I can't help him.
Yeah. It's not, you don't have to. He's getting better just by you being here.
Yeah.
Look at, he's pasting off the extra energy.
Yes.
You got it. You're there. Go ahead. You're good.
You are amazing, Evan.
I and O and U A R. You are. You are. Good. J A M. James. You are James.
Wow. So guys, I'm going to read this to you. The American Speech Language Hearing Association, ASHA, has reviewed the evidence for RPM and spelling to communicate and warned against their use. They conclude there is no evidence clients are actually doing the communication. Would you care to comment on that statement?
Yes.
I think they are delusional.
That's one of my favorite words. Can you put
Do you care to comment?
A G N? Keep your eyes on it. O S to diagnose. Diagnose. I. Keep going. I N T. Which is ironic because SLPs are the ones to diagnose it.
It's all in there.
Yeah.
You said it all.
Yeah. Yeah. Come on, Evan.
Why have non-speakers been forgotten by the world? We have no voice. I see how non-speakers suffer needlessly in silence. Communication is a basic human right. The world needs to change the way it sees non-speaking autism. It is a neuromotor disorder, not a cognitive one. I know something about shared achievements because I am affected by a form of autism that doesn't allow me to speak. My neuromotor issues also prevent me from tying my shoes or buttoning a shirt without assistance. I have typed this speech with one finger with a communication partner holding a keyboard. I am one of the lucky few non-speaking autistics who have been taught to type. That one critical intervention unlocked my mind from its silent cage, enabling me to communicate and to be educated, like my hero Helen Keller. I have struggled my whole life with not being heard or accepted. A story on the front page of our local newspaper reported how the principal at my high school told a staff member, "The retard can't be valedictorian." Yet today, here I stand. Each day, I choose to celebrate small victories, and today, I am celebrating a big victory with all of you. The freedom to choose our own way is our fundamental human right, and it is a right worth defending, not just for us, but for every human being. For me, I have a dream. Yes, just like Martin Luther King Jr., I have a dream. Communication for all. There are 31 million non-speakers with autism in the world who are locked in a silent cage. My life will be dedicated to relieving them from suffering in silence and to giving them voices to choose their own way. God gave you a voice. Use it. And know, the irony of a non-speaking autistic encouraging you to use your voice is not lost on me. Because if you can see the worth in me, then you can see the worth in everyone you meet. My fellow classmates, I leave you today with a quote from Alan Turing, who broke the Nazi encryption code to help win World War II. Sometimes, it is the people no one imagines anything of, who do the things no one can imagine. Be those people. Be the light. Fiat Lux. Thank you.
Gentlemen, the President of the United States and Mrs. Bush.
The blessings of liberty have been limited or even denied. And the Civil Rights Act of '64 took a bold step towards righting that wrong, but the stark fact remained that people with disabilities were still victims of segregation and discrimination. And today's legislation brings us closer to that day when no Americans will ever again be deprived of their basic guarantee of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
We must have our rights of effective communication as guaranteed in the Americans with Disabilities Act. We need all typers to join us in the battle for communication rights.
The provisions in Title II of the ADA say that people with communication disorders have the right to equal communication of their choosing in schools. So when a school says, "Oh, I'm sorry, we can't do that," it's just not true. It's the law. And so Elizabeth says, no more. It's got to stop. The most important thing that I did was to find Elizabeth a teacher who could teach her how to type. Because without being taught, non-speakers have a problem with initiation. That is the contribution I made, and now I've gotten out of the way because Elizabeth is taking the lead and teaching me what needs to happen. in the mission so that every non-speaker can have a voice.
How do you feel about society trying to model autistics to look and act, quote unquote, normal?
Yeah.
The core issue that is wrong in ABA is exactly that. In really supportive worlds, a person is celebrated for their unique traits, not punished.
And keep going. Keep going. Nice. And get it. Nice job.
Yeah.
Should schools choose to really work with a student's strong suit, autistics will become tomorrow's innovators and leaders.
Find it. And then hit comma. Reach and go.
The average autistic child can read and do math by age 4, but can't show it. Imagine the difference we can make in the world if taught how we learn.
Good.
Excellent answer.
That's a...
Autism parents are going to push every boundary to help their child. They're not going to let whether something is emerging or not fully tested get in the way. The only people that autism parents really trust are other autism parents. So if something comes along, no matter what it is, if it's helping children, the word is going to get out. You think about how we got into this. I got a phone call from an autism parent, and I don't really care what anybody else has to say. I had an autism parent telling me that her son was now fluent on a letterboard and able to communicate with his family, and that their whole life had been changed and that every day was a joy. I think what's happening with Jamie on a letterboard is proof to me that we did get the whole thing wrong. It's proof to me that we've gotten the whole thing wrong, that we believe that this was a cognitive impairment in most of these kids, when in fact it's been a motor planning impairment the whole time. And that's actually really important, because if you know motor planning is the real issue, now you can really target your science. How do we rectify that? Is that something we do in the brain? Is that something we do with therapy? Is that something we do with nutrition? I don't know the answer to that, but by having a better idea of what the disability actually is so important. And that's why what's been discovered with these non-speakers is so critical, that people start to take this seriously, that they realize that maybe millions of children have been misunderstood and underestimated, and we start rectifying that as quickly as we can.
Let the revolution begin.
Let's go, y'all. Spellers, check. Yeah, know you gon' live it, child. Leaps and bounce to miles round. Spelling to create this sound, but they gon' hear you now and loud. Look, know they gon' hear you now. They doubt they seen is no longer fair. Know you gon' live it, child. Leaps and bounce to miles round. Spelling to create this sound, but they gon' hear you now and loud. Yeah, know they gon' hear you now. The doubts they seen is no longer fair. Been on this road too long to ever give up. Determination not complacent, they can never mirror. Expression through these letterboards can make it any clearer. No longer underestimated souls of this era. Look at these souls glisten, ready to prove fact from all that they thought was fiction. Life-changing missions and making sure teachers see the difference. Talking about some evidence when all you gotta watch and listen might have failed to mention that they have really closed the distance. Take a dip in, now they all been swimming. Just didn't care you missed it. Now this the revolution, miracle past the movement. They challenging you, prove them. Stigmas and things you boot them. Mountains to mountains you move them. Don't work and only tuning. Tell them open up their eyes. Hello, how you doing? Like the world is yours. Keep on with the pressure, applying it full core. Know you gon' live it, child. Leaps and bounce to miles round. Spelling to create this sound, but they gon' hear you now and loud. Look, know they gon' hear you now. The doubts they seen is no longer fair. Know you gon' live it, child. Leaps and bounce to miles round. Spelling to create this sound, but they gon' hear you now and loud. Yeah, know they gon' hear you now. The doubts they seen is no longer fair. Up on your feet, standing strong, they cannot test. Came by the jungle with meeks, want us to peak, believe not a stretch. What do you seek? Talk is cheap, the world's neglect. Form the fiddle must preach, settle the tides and make it connect. I know the pain real. I'ma tell you that I hear you. Send for your closest ones, they're right now, that's near you. And how you've turned around and made passion out of tribulations. Days that were overdraining, but it's a virtue speaking, sing of patience. Cause so long that you've been waiting to release this greatness. Held it in that bottle shaking, on your path you pacing. And do afraid if they be hating, on the path you making. And ain't no doubts and ain't no aching, on the trail you blazing. But make sure to spell them roses, maybe catch that fragrance. Cause the battle came with beauty. Stages, leave it all up on the floor, all on the pavement. For the change you chasing, know you gon' live it, child. Leaps and bounce to miles round. Spelling to create this sound, but they gon' hear you now and loud. Look, know they gon' hear you now. The doubts they seen is no longer fair. Know you gon' live it, child. Leaps and bounce to miles round. Spelling to create this sound, but they gon' hear you now and loud. Yeah, know they gon' hear you now. The doubts they seen is no longer fair. This one goes out to Kay, Evan, Trey, Madison, Aiden, Elizabeth, Vince, my boy Jamie, and other non-speakers worldwide that's been waiting to be heard. Sway.
Wow, incroyable, hein. Voilà. Thank you so much. Dawnmarie. Bah, il faut mettre Dawnmarie à l'écran, je pense. Thank you. It's just amazing. Voilà, j'aimerais bien que tous rebonsoir à tous. Voilà, on est avec Dawnmarie pour ceux qui ont pris le documentaire en cours. Donc voilà, c'est elle que vous avez vue dans le film. Et puis, soyez gentils, commencez peut-être par marquer ce que vous avez pensé, vos réactions, les messages que vous lui adressez, ainsi qu'à ses deux fils. Je suis sûre qu'elle va les transmettre. I'm going to translate for you. So I asked everyone if they can write down a comment for you. And also for your sons. I'm sure you will pass it on to them. I hope so.
I will.
Thank you.
I did read one question in my minimal French about why not start non-speakers on a computer? Like why use the letterboards? So if you understand apraxia and the motor planning, you have to go all the way back to something very low technology with very large targets, so that their eyes, which are moving by fine, small motor muscles, so those eyes can find the targets and make the correct connection to a letter. But the goal is you move up this hierarchy from stencils to laminate to keyboard. Caden Larson's mom explained sort of the step by step. If we do that,
yeah. Can I stop you because we need to translate?
Yeah, stop. Tell me, you wave when I need to stop.
Oui. Donc voilà, elle a essayé. Elle a quelques rudiments de français, donc elle a essayé de lire quelques commentaires, quelques questions qui étaient dans les commentaires. Elle a tout de suite sauté sur une explication. Et donc, il y avait une question où on demandait, mais pourquoi est-ce qu'on ne leur apprend pas directement, par exemple, à utiliser un ordinateur? Et donc, en fait, il faut comprendre ce que c'est l'apraxie. Et comme c'est vraiment un problème moteur, on n'a pas directement, justement, la motricité fine pour pouvoir taper sur un ordinateur. C'est pour ça qu'on voit des stencils et puis des planches de lettres. Et puis d'abord, les lettres sont plus grosses et puis on pointe. Donc, c'est tout un apprentissage pour en arriver là, bien entendu. Et puis, je suppose que ça dépend de l'individu. Je demanderai tout à l'heure aussi à Caroline comment elle le fait. Je voudrais d'abord revenir, peut-être avant qu'on passe dans des questions plus techniques. Je vais simplement demander comment vont leurs fils là aujourd'hui. C'est un film qui date de 2023. Et puis je vais demander ça à Dawnmarie et puis à Brian et à Caroline, parce que je pense qu'on a d'abord envie d'avoir des nouvelles. So first, before answering technical questions, I think we would love to have some news of how your sons are doing. How are they all doing right now? I mean, the movie is from 2023?
2023.
Okay, so we're in 26. How are they doing?
Evan is my non-speaker. He's 22.
Okay.
He graduated high school with his full diploma.
Wow.
And
Donc, Evan a 22 ans et maintenant, il vient de terminer. Donc, c'est celui qui est vraiment non-parlant. Et donc, il vient d'obtenir son diplôme, son bac.
And he's now in a community college studying music technology. He's really into hip hop and rap and music and making soundboards. So that's what he's doing right now professionally.
Ok, donc maintenant il vient de commencer des études musicales dans les technologies musicales et il adore le rap. By the way, the rap was really great. Moi, j'ai beaucoup aimé les morceaux. Je ne suis pas spécialement une fan de rap, mais j'ai trouvé que c'était très chouette. Et donc, il est passionné par ce qu'il fait. Et c'est ce qu'il va faire professionnellement aussi.
What's fun about my job is when I met Jamie and JB, and I got to know Jamie, I said, you and my son Evan would be good friends. I realized they had a lot in common, and you get to discover that about your child once they can communicate openly and help them find friends with common interest.
Donc, ce qui est génial, c'est que quand tu es là, donc Jamie et Evan se sont rencontrés, quand elle a commencé en fait à avoir Jamie comme client, elle a pu déceler chez lui les mêmes intérêts. Et donc, elle s'est dit, tiens, je pense qu'ils s'entendraient bien avec mon fils. Et donc, c'est comme ça aussi, ils se sont rencontrés et ça leur permet de créer un cercle d'amis. Donc, c'est vraiment assez fascinant. Thank you. Yes.
Well, and I don't want to leave out Trey. I do have one more.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Trey's 21. He's still in high school, but graduating in June.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually wants to go work at a theme park. So he wants a job so he can ride roller coasters half the day.
Et donc, Trey, donc son autre fils, qu'on a aussi vu dans le documentaire, lui, il est en train de terminer, il est en dernière année, donc normalement, il va réussir ses études aussi. Et après ça, il voudrait bien travailler dans un parc d'attractions, d'amusement. Et donc, voilà, c'est ça qu'il a envie de faire et aller passer la moitié de son temps sur les Voilà, c'est quoi les on disait les manèges avant, non, c'est pas ça. Les
Montagnes russes.
Les montagnes russes, exactement. Voilà, thank you very much. We'll go back to the more, technical questions. Now we'd like to hear from you, Brian. Can you also please tell us, what your experience is and how your son is doing? Donc voilà, je demandais à Brian qu'il nous parle un peu de son fils. Ouais.
Well, thank you so much. My son, Stephen, is 28 years old. He started spelling in May of 2021. He became fluent and open on a letterboard in 2.5 years. So it took him 2.5 years to do that. He has now started typing on a keyboard. Soon after he was open.
Okay,
go ahead.
Just stop.
No, thank you.
Ok, donc son fils Steven, on a déjà vu en fait, si vous l'avez, pour ceux qui ont vu le film Vax il y a longtemps, vous l'avez déjà aperçu il y a quelques années. Donc il va très bien, il a commencé la méthode Spellers en 2021. Et puis, bien progressivement, ça prend quand même un petit peu de temps, mais progressivement, et là, il tape sur un clavier. And he's now tapping on a keyboard. And what else did you say? Yeah.
He's now typing on a keyboard, and he just started high school, online high school, regular high school. And he knows, we had no idea, but he knows physics, calculus, and German. He understands German. We don't speak German.
Yeah. Donc son fils vient de commencer des études, on va dire là, supérieures. Et apparemment, il sait, il comprend, il s'y connaît en physique, en maths, et il est bon en allemand. Et donc, ses parents ne parlent pas allemand, et c'est un mystère de savoir comment il parle allemand. Can you please tell us a bit more about this complete mystery? How does he explain, what's his German? Can you read? Est-ce qu'il sait lire en allemand? Comment est-ce qu'il a appris? Enfin, voilà.
He can.
Yes.
I learned some German in high school, so he laughs at my German. But he just learned how to speak it, and it's still very much a mystery to us how he learned it, how he understood it. But he wanted to, because his hero is Albert Einstein, and all of Einstein's original writings are in German.
Non. C'est juste incroyable. Donc, ce qu'il explique, c'est que Brian a eu un peu d'allemand, mais pas tant que ça. Et donc, son fils se moque, entre guillemets, de ces pauvres rudiments d'allemand. Et il s'est passionné pour l'allemand parce qu'en fait, c'est un fan d'Albert Einstein, et il voulait pouvoir le lire en allemand. Mais pour l'instant, c'est pas encore très très clair de savoir comment il a appris. How does he try to explain it himself? Comment est-ce qu'il l'explique lui-même?
He likes it to remain a mystery. Very much so. He doesn't necessarily like to talk about it, but his goal is to go to graduate school at Massachusetts Institute of Technology.
Wow. Donc, pour le moment, il aime bien garder le mystère sur la manière dont il a appris tout seul l'allemand. Mais voilà, il aimerait bien commencer, on va dire, l'université, en tout cas des études supérieures, à la très célèbre MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. I think Dawnmarie, you also wanted to add something. Dawnmarie voudrait nous dire quelque chose.
Yes, a lot of typers and spellers tell us that they could decode words and spelling by the time they were 3 or 4 years old. So they did not need to learn to read and spell the way a neurotypical child does, that there's patterns that they see, and they just learned it differently. Some say they learned by watching the subtitles or tickers on the news. I don't know. You stop me when
Okay,
you want.
yes. Donc, voilà, on va dire un début d'explication. Elle dit que c'est donc pas un cas isolé. Apparemment, il y a énormément de spellers qui disent qu'en fait, ils ont commencé à lire à partir de l'âge de 3 ans, donc tout seul. Et certains, peut-être en voyant parfois les sous-titres donc, ou des groupes de mots, apparemment, ils auraient peut-être une manière, une méthode qui leur est chacun propre, mais pour décoder des groupes de mots en regardant voilà, la télévision ou des écrans et en regardant les sous-titres et en entendant, puisque bon, ils entendent quand même bien, hein, c'est pas des sourds, en entendant la voix. This is just amazing, oui. Yes.
And watching videos on YouTube, you know, when they watch the same video a lot, you'll notice they sometimes start to change the language subtitles. That's how a lot have taught themselves other languages, at least how to read them and how to decode them. So a lot of math, a lot of languages, anything that has patterns and sort of, it's easier for them to pick up and learn than it is for someone neurotypical.
Ok. Donc, ce qu'elle dit, c'est qu'apparemment, ce serait plus facile pour eux, voilà, de déployer ce type de compétences, ce mode d'apprentissage par eux-mêmes, notamment, par exemple, en utilisant YouTube avec des sous-titres et surtout des séquences qui peuvent répéter. Et donc, voilà, comme ça, quelque part, décoder ce qui est dit. J'ai envie d'avoir, so I'm going to ask now our other guests. J'aimerais bien avoir, premièrement, la réaction, Dr Fouché. C'est quoi la réaction du médecin par rapport à tout ça? Et le micro.
La réaction du médecin, c'est d'être ému, touché aux larmes, de voir ce continent d'envie d'être ensemble, de communiquer, cet amour qui est partagé d'emblée. Une relation est possible, une communication est possible. Et pour moi, ça ouvre effectivement des abysses de perplexité sur notre médecine. So the first move for me is to be touched to tears by what I see in the movie, because a whole land of hope and communication is appearing, and the first thing which is told is about love, is about loving each other, loving your daddy, loving your brother, loving your grandfather, and it's the history of humanity to hang together and try to help the people who need help. And je suis très admiratif du travail de Dawnmarie et puis de l'abnégation des parents aussi, d'oser croire que c'est possible, parce que peut-être qu'on s'habitue aussi à une sorte de situation de détresse. On voit que un des pères qui parle dit au début j'ai pas trop voulu y croire, quoi. So at the beginning we see that one of the father is not able to believe that there's hope there. Maybe he's afraid to be déçu, to be deceived, disappointed by the method. So this is the first thing, the human consideration about that. As for the medical consideration, I'm intensivist working in intensive care, and we have patients not able to communicate also because they are intubated under sedation or they are too badly ill. And each time we wake them up, we realize that they have lived something. They have heard, feel, be touched. Some of them have a black hole, but some other can testify what happened in the intensive care, and even on a wider scale, because some of them even record some other memories of other life or whatever. You don't even know what it is. And so I just wonder, when you are stuck in your body and you can't communicate with anyone, how much you get the information from everywhere, and the information is burning you all the time, and you can't say anything. You're just in jail in your own body, and that's really
Louis, peut-être un tout petit peu en français, je veux pas. Peut-être tu peux. C'est passionnant ce que tu dis, donc ça va peut-être donner
Je disais qu'en
l'occasion aux autres
réanimation,
de
les
réagir, mais
patients
ouais.
sont sédatés et on se rend compte que le niveau de sédation change et qu'est-ce qui reste? Pour certains, il y a un trou noir, il se passe rien et pour d'autres, il y a des témoignages de ce qu'ils ont vécu, parfois d'autres endroits dans l'hôpital, de moments très particuliers, et c'est vraiment très interpellant sur qu'est-ce qu'on perçoit de cette réalité et qu'est-ce que des autistes non-verbaux peuvent percevoir de notre réalité. Nous, on est coincés dans notre monde du langage, justement, et notre langage parfois est psychotique, il invente des réalités fantasmatiques, alors que là, on a des gens qui ne peuvent rien dire et qui doivent tout écouter tout le temps, et qui sont comme hyper poreux à l'information peut-être, et qui effectivement voient des choses que probablement nous on voit pas dans nos comportements, nos interrelations, notre façon d'être au monde. Voilà, ça c'est un point. Et puis le dernier point que j'aimerais dire, c'est que pour nous, la formation sur l'autisme et les troubles du neurodéveloppement, en gros, c'est l'item 67, je crois, de l'internat. Vous irez voir vous-même. En gros, le contenu, c'est assez faible. Il y a des échelles diagnostiques qui essayent de poser certains items pour mettre dans les cases diagnostiques du DSM-5 ou du DSM-6 maintenant les troubles, la classification des troubles psychiatriques, et on met sans cesse dans l'idée qu'effectivement ce sont des gens complètement débiles ou fous, et en gros on les met complètement à la marge du handicap et on laisse ça en dehors de la médecine. Et donc au fond on ne connaît rien de ça. Et donc moi j'ai marqué docteur en bas là sous mon nom, vous voyez ça, comme si j'étais un sachant sur ce sujet. Et c'est évidemment les familles, les parents et les gens eux-mêmes qui en connaissent 10 fois plus. Et je crois qu'hélas c'est vrai dans quasiment toutes les pathologies.
C'est pour ça qu'il faut qu'on travaille ensemble, hein. Merci. I don't know if you got if you perhaps one of you wants to answer what Louis just said, and then we'll ask a few questions
only can
to
translate the end
Caroline.
of what I said because
Yes.
I didn't translate. But I was just saying that as a doctor, I have a small particle at the beginning of my name down under, but I don't know anything about that. And what we learn at school, at medical school, is just so scarce. We don't know anything about neurodevelopment and what's happening in the head of those children and then adults. And so we just put them in the handicap square. They are handicapped, so we can't do anything. Bye bye, and we throw that away. Plus, there's no industry, there's no market, nobody's selling anything for that. So it doesn't interest anybody in big pharma or anywhere, except to calm them down with neuroleptics or anxiolytics, which would not help in any way, I think. So I'm really touched by the low tech thing developed there. You don't need anything but human.
It should be the cheapest thing a family invests in for their child. It ends up being the cheapest thing with the biggest return on that investment. The stencils are, under $100 in the United States for the whole set, right? A laminate board's $20. And then you can see a trained provider a couple times on different points of your journey. But we are here to teach parents, caregivers, how to do this with their own children. Right. I have the pleasure of working with Brian and his son, Steven, but I give them the tools and they do it. I don't do it. He doesn't see me every week.
Oui, c'est ça. Justement, par rapport à ce que Louis disait tout à l'heure, finalement, et elle répond par rapport à l'investissement. En gros, ça devrait être l'investissement le plus minimal et tout le monde devrait pouvoir le faire. Il y en a pour moins de $100, on va dire, d'achat dans les différentes planches de lettres et puis après, ce sont quelques séances, mais déjà l'objectif, c'est de former les parents, de former les éducateurs, les accompagnants. Donc voilà. Now I would like to give the word to Caroline. Voilà, Caroline.
Alors,
comment va parle-nous un peu de ta fille peut-être.
Ma fille, elle a passé une année particulièrement difficile, donc ça a été pas très facile de la faire épeler, mais malgré tout, elle a quand même progressé.
Elle a commencé quand?
Aujourd'hui, elle utilise ça en fait.
Okay.
dis ça, mais moi, j'ai dû mettre des petits repères tactiles, vous voyez, parce que c'était plus facile pour elle de s'arrêter sur mes lettres, en fait. Mais en fait, je varie dans l'utilisation aussi des pochoirs. Suivant sa capacité motrice du moment, etc., je vais utiliser revenir en arrière. Et dans une leçon, souvent, on peut utiliser plusieurs supports. Je vais I'm just saying that, you know, I had a difficult time with my daughter. She had a lot of trouble sleeping for years and a lot of health trouble. But still was progressing, and we're using this one, laminate, and also the stencils. And I was just saying that during a lesson, we also vary from one to the other, depending on her capacity and motor capacity at the time.
Qu'est-ce que ça a apporté jusqu'à présent?
Moi, ça change la manière dont on interagit avec notre enfant. Moi, j'ai connu ça il y a déjà... j'ai connu Soma, j'ai vu travailler Soma aux États-Unis, donc c'est celle qui a créé la méthode RPM, qui est à l'origine de Est aussi, etc., des autres méthodes. Mais c'est elle la première, en fait, qui l'a fait avec son fils, et qui a inventé, on va dire, cette pratique. Et à l'époque, en Inde, elle avait un papier et un crayon. C'est tout ce qu'elle avait. Elle n'avait rien d'autre pour travailler. Donc, elle a commencé papier-crayon, et tout ce qu'elle fait, c'est papier-crayon. I was just saying that Soma, I've known Soma for like few years. I mean, and I saw her work with just, and at the time she was in India, she only had a pencil and a sheet of paper, and that's all that she had. So she had to work with only that, and she did everything with this. So now we have stencils and all these things. Avant, il n'existait pas les pochoirs. Elle a fait sans rien, tu vois, papier-crayon, en fait. Elle faisait elle-même l'alphabet sur une feuille, et puis elle montrait à son fils. Et bon, voilà. Donc moi, j'ai commencé un peu moi-même en observant en fait Soma, parce qu'à l'époque, il n'y avait pas il fallait aller aux États-Unis, il fallait aller loin pour suivre des cours. Maintenant, grâce au Covid, depuis 2020, il y a eu des cours en ligne, et on a pu commencer, nous, à suivre des cours en ligne. I said that it's since COVID that we could actually have from here online courses to start to learn these methods and start to learn how to teach our children to spell. Donc, et maintenant, mais malgré tout, ce que je veux dire, c'est qu'il y a de la technique derrière. Ça paraît, si c'était... Parfois, ça paraît magique un peu dans le film qu'on met la planche de lettres devant l'œil et la personne se met à épeler. En réalité, ça dépend vraiment des jeunes, en fait. On pense que l'orthographe, ils l'ont, en fait, la plupart du temps quand ils sont adultes, en fait. S'ils n'ont pas 5 ans, ils ont acquis ça, ils savent lire et ils savent épeler les mots. Par contre, l'entraînement moteur, d'aller pointer, comme dit Dawnmarie, sur la bonne lettre et d'avoir toute la coordination oculomotrice, pour eux, c'est un vrai travail. Et c'est ce que nous, on doit apprendre en tant qu'enseignants, à leur apprendre à faire ça, en fait, à pouvoir enchaîner des pointages de façon précise sur une planche de lettres. Et ça, c'est technique.
Oui.
Voilà. I'm just saying that it's not as easy. It's just not because you have a letterboard that the child is going to just spell, even though they have language inside of their head. It's like we have to train them to do it. And that's the difficult part for us. And we have to learn that. So now our challenge here is to be able to be good teachers for these kids and to learn ourselves to become teachers. Donc moi, ce que je souhaite, c'est que vraiment de plus en plus de professionnels, on a commencé à faire des petits ateliers en ligne pour que des professionnels apprennent à pouvoir entraîner nos enfants à utiliser une planche de lettres et à commencer à avoir une communication aussi de plus en plus ouverte. En fait, ça passe par d'abord des questions avec des réponses qu'on leur a dites, puis ensuite on passe vers une communication semi-ouverte, et puis petit à petit vers une communication totalement ouverte où c'est leurs propres réponses qu'ils apprennent à exprimer, en fait. Donc c'est tout un processus, et voilà que je rêve qu'il y ait beaucoup de professionnels qui apprennent ici. I just dream that many professionals here learn to use this techniques and be able to teach these to our kids from early age, because it would be wonderful that they start very early, young kids.
Caroline, encore une question avant de repasser la parole. Est-ce que tu connais d'autres personnes qui pratiquent ça en francophonie?
Il y a un élève qui pratique ça en francophonie, qui a fait des études universitaires à l'heure actuelle, qui s'appelle Nicolas Jancourt, donc qui est un speller francophone en fait, mais ça c'est le seul que je connais. Sinon, à Paris,
qui enseigne la méthode ou qui est lui-même un speller?
Qui est un speller francophone qui fait des études universitaires.
Okay.
Il y en a un à ma connaissance qui a obtenu aussi une aide de l'État pour pouvoir avoir quelqu'un qui l'accompagne à l'université à Rennes, en France. Mais à part lui, moi aussi, je rêve parce que je vois qu'aux États-Unis, il y a cette possibilité de faire des études à tout âge, et surtout pour les personnes qui n'ont pas pu forcément suivre un cursus scolaire. Et donc, pour des spellers, de rattraper un niveau de bac, de continuer aussi des études universitaires aménagées, parce qu'ils peuvent le faire là-bas. Et ici, c'est pas du tout le cas encore, ce genre de choses. Et pourtant, je vois la soif de nos enfants à apprendre, en fait.
Ok.
Vas-y, traduis.
Well, she spoke about how their own experience and peut-être toi tu veux traduire en 2 minutes.
I said I know only one speller, French speller. In France, who goes to university, Nicolas Jancourt. Many people know him, and he has someone accompanying him to be able to learn at university. But apart from him, here, our kids don't have they are not able to go to university or to follow online courses or this kind of things, being spellers, So this is also a major change. It would be a major change here.
I think that Europe, we have a lot of people spelling in the UK, and it's starting to move into the rest of Europe. I think you guys, France, other countries are maybe like 5 to 6 years behind. But it happens quickly. Like the documentary created for us in the United States, created a huge amount of awareness and interest. And then more providers were trained. So we're training more and more families. And now we're hitting like a critical mass where the government and legislative, like there's pushback. We're starting to get pushback, but that's a good thing. Like it's part of the process to affirm their rights for everyone to be able to go to college, because not everyone is allowed, but many here do. But it's a case-by-case basis, and we're trying to make it universal.
Okay, and perhaps you, Brian, know more about your... Oui, pardon, excusez-moi. Just a minute. Oui, donc elle expliquait quand même que le documentaire, enfin voilà, qu'en Europe, on avait 5 ou 6 ans de retard, mais que c'était quand même encore en train de bouger, mais c'est plutôt en Grande-Bretagne, forcément. Aux États-Unis, quand même, ça commence à prendre de l'essor, et au point qu'il commence à avoir, on va dire, une certaine résistance, comme on l'a d'ailleurs un peu vu dans le film. Mais voilà, mais en même temps, il y a une volonté d'affirmer les droits justement à tous les non-parlants de pouvoir faire des études et avoir ces méthodes à leur disposition. Donc voilà, c'est vraiment intéressant ce qui est en train de se passer. Moi, j'ai une question pour Brian Hooker. Brian, I have a question for you. You are close to Robert Kennedy Jr. So what is happening? I'm sure he knows about it. And are there any plans, let's say at government level, HHS or education? I don't know if it's like health or education or. Please tell me.
I do not know of anything directly.
Just a second, I will translate my question in French.
Donc, okay, voilà. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Brian est proche de Robert Kennedy Jr., qui aujourd'hui est à la tête du secrétaire donc, du département de la santé aux États-Unis. Alors, évidemment, ici, on se trouve avec quelque chose qui est entre la santé et l'éducation. Mais donc, je voulais savoir, et je sais qu'il connaît très bien Brian et son fils, et donc, il a certainement entendu parler de la méthode. Je voulais savoir si, éventuellement, il y avait des projets au niveau plutôt, je dirais, au niveau du gouvernement. Thank you. Please go ahead.
Well, I keep it in front of his eyes every chance I can get.
Okay.
And because this needs to spread, there are so many non-speakers and unreliable speakers that can benefit from, this modality. So Secretary Kennedy knows about it and knows about my son's progress as well.
Voilà. Donc, ce qu'il dit, c'est que pour l'instant, il n'a pas encore entendu grand-chose, mais qu'à la moindre occasion, il essaye de le lui rappeler. Et voilà, Kennedy connaît, Brian connaît son fils aussi, est au courant des progrès qu'il fait et peut les observer. Donc, j'ai eu une interview avec Marie-Hollande qu'on vient de publier, je pense aujourd'hui ou hier, justement également en amont du congrès, puisqu'on va parler de ça pendant les 2 journées de conférence. Je rappelle, on l'a dit au début de l'émission, et pour ceux qui ne nous ont pas suivis, on fait 2 journées de conférence sur l'autisme le 25 et le 26 avril. Donc, ce sera à Bruxelles pour le 25, à Paris pour le 26, et ça sera vraiment un sujet dont on va parler, en particulier le 25 dans l'après-midi. Et donc voilà, Marie-Hollande sera là également, donc on aura Brian Hooker qui sera là et aussi Marie-Hollande. Et voilà, Marie m'a dit qu'elle pensait qu'au niveau de l'association Children's Self-Defense, ils allaient vraiment, je dirais, mettre les moyens nécessaires pour que cette méthode soit connue et soutenue. Mary Holland told me that you had the intention with Children's Self-Defense to advocate and promote for this method.
Yes, absolutely. We want to advocate for this method. We want to spread the word for this. Mary Holland's son is Andy, and she wouldn't mind me telling you this. He's more of an unreliable speaker, and he is also starting on a letterboard and doing very, very well.
Donc voilà, il confirme ça, et donc il nous explique également que Marie a elle-même un fils autiste qui s'appelle Andy, et qui est verbal, mais comme elle aime le dire, unreliable. Sa parole n'est pas, comment dire, très fiable, c'est irrégulier. Et donc, elle a commencé elle-même la méthode, d'ailleurs elle l'a dit dans l'interview, et apparemment ça lui permet vraiment de s'exprimer de manière avec plus de confiance, avec plus de clarté, et aussi d'exprimer des pensées peut-être plus complexes que ce qu'il pouvait faire, ou à des moments où c'est plus difficile, puisque je pense qu'il y a des moments où ça vient mieux, et puis il y en a d'autres où ça sort plus, entre guillemets. Donc, she told it during the interview we just published. Peut-être on peut prendre Louis.
J'ai un petit mot simplement en regardant le film, ça me fait penser à la langue des signes chez les gens qui sont sourds-muets, et qui, grâce à la langue des signes, peuvent communiquer, et ont inventé au fond une culture entière autour de cette langue des signes, avec des spéciations même locales, une façon de signer qui n'est pas exactement la même en fonction des pays, et puis petit à petit voilà, des jeux de mots, des jeux de langage, etc. Est-ce que Dawnmarie et Brian, Caroline, vous considérez que le spelling est une sorte de langue, finalement une sorte d'équivalent pour les autistes non-verbaux de la langue des signes pour les muets, ou est-ce que c'est encore différent? I shall try and translate. I was just wondering and asking you, Dawnmarie, Brian, and Caroline, if there was a parallel to be made with the signing of the non-speaking person who are mute and deaf and must use the way of signing with their hands. And we saw that signing for them has turned to be a culture, has turned to be speciated in every country with different way of signing and humor and things that they can do and artistic behavior also. And for a lot of them, I had the chance to discuss with association with groups of person. They didn't want to get back to hearing again, and they wanted to keep signing because they had a culture there. And they had tradition, they have a community also. For you, is it kind of the same as the spelling is concerned, or is it something even different?
I do think what I've seen happen, there weren't really a lot of autistic people 40, 50 years ago. And then as the numbers grew over the past few decades, those who had speech were speaking on behalf of everyone nonverbal. And what we have seen happen is that now that all these non-speakers, these nonverbals have a way to communicate, they are definitely identifying as their own sort of subculture within the autism spectrum. And they will say that the experience of those with autism who have speech doesn't match their lived experience. And that as much as we as parents and teachers and educators want full inclusion, we want them to have the option to be fully included everywhere. They do sometimes choose to stay with their peers who also have, who spell to communicate.
Ok, hold it.
Yeah.
Donc voilà, c'est très intéressant ce qu'elle a dit. Donc elle a expliqué que au début, il y a 30-40 ans, il y avait finalement, comme on le sait, l'incidence d'autisme était assez faible. Et progressivement, finalement, avec l'explosion de l'autisme, ceux qui ont pu en parler, c'était les autistes, justement, parlants. Et donc, c'était eux qui s'exprimaient pour toute la communauté, on va dire, d'autisme. Maintenant, il y a quand même quelque chose de différent, dans la mesure où les non-parlants arrivent à communiquer entre eux. C'est un peu comme s'ils formaient vraiment une espèce de sous-culture à l'intérieur de ce groupe. Donc, c'est pas... et ils expliquent qu'en fait, ce que les autres, les parlants, peuvent dire ne représente pas nécessairement ceux qui vivent eux. Donc, ils ont leur propre manière de percevoir les choses. Et donc, en ce qui concerne aussi l'idée d'avoir une inclusion la plus complète possible dans la société, il y en a qui, en fait, apparemment, ont envie de rester un peu entre eux, dans leur propre monde. Caroline, peut-être une réaction? Je vois.
J'ai perdu ta question, mais...
Ah, c'est pas grave, mais on parlait, on est pas, c'est un peu... Alors, on est parti des sourds, voilà, on est parti
oui, c'est la question de Louis, oui, sur le langage, en fait. Oui, alors, c'est vrai qu'il y a une américaine que vous avez vue à la fin du film, Elizabeth Banker, elle a créé une organisation qui s'appelle Communication for All. Donc, c'est la communication pour tous, et son objectif, c'est que vraiment tous les 30 millions à peu près d'autistes non-verbaux, non-parlants dans le monde, parce qu'ils ne sont pas non-verbaux, en fait, ils sont juste non-parlants, ils puissent accéder à cette forme de communication. Donc, et ça passe aussi dans les lois américaines, qui est un accès systématique, en fait, à cette forme de communication. Après, pour certains, ça ne s'arrête pas. En fait, c'est vraiment juste une première étape d'épeler sur une planche de lettres. Et il y en a qui vont développer d'autres compétences motrices plus avancées. Donc, aller vers l'écriture, par exemple. Le clavier, qui est déjà aussi plus avancé que la planche de lettres, parce que c'est plus petit. Et puis, il y en a qui apprennent à parler aussi. Donc, pas forcément d'une manière très courante, mais qui commencent à développer la capacité d'utiliser leur bouche. Donc, c'est vraiment de la motricité fine, encore plus fine, parce qu'ils apprennent à contrôler leur corps de mieux en mieux. Et je sais que Soma, elle les fait parler de plus en plus. Donc, il y a aussi de l'espoir de ce niveau-là. Voilà. Même s'ils préféreront peut-être utiliser une planche de lettres pour s'exprimer plus simplement, en fait. I'm just saying that, sometimes spellers can move to other also fine motor skills, like handwriting, for instance, or even speaking. For some of them, they're able to start some speech, not a fluent speech sometimes, but just some speech as well. So it's not only spelling, even though they prefer, for most of them, using a letterboard or typing. And I was saying about Elizabeth Bonker, who created the organization like Communication for All, so that everywhere in the world, you know, non-speaking autistic kids can, or adults can have this means of communication, can have access to it. And I know in the US, it's also a law now, that the law that they have access to this type of communication. I mean, it's what we're talking about, the Bill of Rights or something about this. I don't know in terms of legal matters. I don't know exactly, but I was wondering about that. Yeah. Voilà, pardon.
C'est quelque chose qu'on a revendiqué, hein, voilà, peut-être il faut certainement qu'on mette ça à l'ordre du jour pour le congrès, de pouvoir revendiquer l'accès à de diffuser et de pouvoir utiliser ces méthodes. Maintenant, je vais parler, voilà, je vais donner un commentaire personnel aussi, puisque moi, j'ai aussi eu un fils autiste qui a régressé vers un état complètement non-verbal, en venant de un langage, on va dire, de bambin, mais une centaine de mots, tout à fait pointés, etc., tout à fait appropriés, on va dire, pour l'âge qu'il avait. Et puis, on est arrivé au silence complet. Il m'a fallu du temps pour comprendre qu'un enfant qui avait parlé ne pouvait plus parler, parce qu'au début, je me suis dit, il ne veut pas, puisqu'il a déjà parlé, c'est qu'il sait parler, donc c'est juste qu'il veut pas. Voilà, donc j'ai cherché, peut-être qu'il avait mal aux oreilles, peut-être qu'il, voilà, c'était psychologique, c'était la phase d'opposition, enfin, 1000 choses qu'on peut se dire, jusqu'au moment où j'ai vraiment compris qu'il y avait quelque chose dans son cerveau qui faisait qu'il ne pouvait plus parler. Il y a un truc qui ne fonctionnait pas. Donc ici, on n'est peut-être pas tellement, alors je ne sais pas exactement où ça se passait, mais en tout cas, il y avait quelque chose qui faisait que ça ne fonctionnait plus. Et je vais raconter une anecdote un peu curieuse, mais quand j'étais jeune étudiante, voilà, je m'étais retrouvée dans une situation comme beaucoup de jeunes, où on fume des joints, et je m'étais retrouvée, bien plus tôt, évidemment, mais un jour dans une situation où je voulais dire quelque chose et mon cerveau, j'en étais incapable. On m'aurait menacée, j'aurais pas pu. Et heureusement, quelque part, que j'avais eu cette expérience, parce que ça m'a permis de comprendre que c'est peut-être pas juste un blocage psychologique, ce qui était on va dire, la voie qui paraissait, en tout cas certainement en francophonie, la plus évidente, mais il y avait vraiment quelque chose au niveau de la physiologie qui ne fonctionnait pas, quoi. Et donc, je me suis dit, OK, il n'y arrive plus. Et donc, c'est suite à ça, voilà, on a les diagnostics d'autisme. J'ai commencé des interventions avec l'alimentation, la nutrition, la détox. Et voilà, ça n'a pas été facile, hein, ça a été très intense, mais mon fils a donc pu retrouver la parole complète, une vie, pas seulement la parole, aussi un comportement normal, on va dire. Voilà, d'ailleurs, il était là ce soir. On n'est pas au même endroit, mais il a regardé le film et il a mis un petit commentaire dans le chat sur YouTube en disant « very touching ». Donc voilà, il y a quand même ce facteur-là aussi. Donc voilà, est-ce que les deux, comment est-ce qu'on articule les deux? Est-ce qu'il y a une sens entre les expériences qu'on a décrites aujourd'hui, qui sont plus de l'ordre moteur, et ce qui peut se passer au niveau du cerveau? est-ce qu'on a des moyens d'articuler ça? So Brian Brian and Dawnmarie, bon, Louis a compris, I just explained the story with my son, how he regressed to really as a non-speaker and to autism, and then how we gradually had a full recovery, including speech. So he's now in his second year of he's studying cinema. He wants to be a movie director, and he just made a comment. He was watching us, and he's made a comment in English. So to say that it was very touching. So the question, Brian and Dawnmarie, is, I thought at the moment that this was really something also in the brain, and not because he never had any motor trouble. And so how do we articulate these two parts, let's say, of language, of speech, and of recovery? And can you tell us more about that? Of course, it's different, your children have not recovered verbally, but does it make sense to combine both approaches? And
I'm going to let Dawnmarie answer that question. She's got a wonderful presentation on that talks and breaks down the different regions of the brain.
Oh, wow. Super.
Okay. I'm also a nurse. Before I had my children, yes. So I was an RN for 11 years. I'm still an RN, but I worked as an RN for 11 years in Boston. So I have a personal theory based on all the research I have read about the brain, and both of my children were developing typically and then regressed and lost their speech. So they were in that bucket as well.
Okay. Stop. Because it's going to be a bit more complicated. Yes. Donc voilà, Brian propose qu'elle réponde parce qu'en fait, elle a déjà fait des présentations sur justement les différentes partie du cerveau et voilà, qu'est-ce qui intervient dans le langage et la parole. Elle a également une qualification d'infirmière, de nurse. Donc voilà. Et ces deux enfants ont eux-mêmes également été dans la situation, ainsi que le fils de Brian, d'enfants qui étaient verbaux et puis qui ont régressé vers un autisme non parlant. Voilà.
So all the money spent on finding the genetic cause to autism. And because I had two children 1 year apart, as soon as number 2 was diagnosed, they knocked on my door and wanted our DNA because they said, if you've got 2, then you probably have a genetic predisposition. So we were part of the autism genetic research exchange from the very beginning. 10 years later, right? There's no gene. We know this. There's multifactorial conditions that create autism. And I think it does depend, meaning if you can fully recover your child, including speech or not, depends on a lot of those factors.
Okay, stop. Ok, voilà. Donc, ce qu'elle pense déjà, c'est que c'est pas particulièrement génétique par rapport à la théorie qui est encore dominante. Et comme elle a eu 2 enfants assez proches à 1 an d'intervalle qui ont tous les 2 régressé vers l'autisme, on est donc venu leur demander d'entrer dans la recherche sur justement les causes génétiques de l'autisme. Et donc, voilà, ce qu'on sait depuis, parce que c'est des recherches qui ont été menées pendant assez longtemps et sur quand même des grands échantillons avec beaucoup de crédit, je pense. La réalité, c'est qu'en fait, c'est pas juste un facteur génétique, mais c'est que c'est multifactoriel. OK.
But the good news is this, we know thanks to neuroplasticity and specifically what we teach with letterboards and communication devices through the motor coaching, that these 2 language centers in the brain, there's more than 2, but when you're first hearing words and they come into your ears, it goes to a part of your brain where your brain understands, okay, that's speech, someone's talking. And then the signal travels to the frontal lobe And that's where you start having thoughts or ideas about what you might say back to someone.
Ok, stop.
Stop. Yeah.
Si quelqu'un d'autre veut traduire, c'est ok.
Receptive language,
Yeah,
expressive,
yeah.
right? Receptive,
Yes,
expressive.
yes.
Yeah.
Ok. Donc voilà, elle expliquait qu'en fait, on commence à comprendre comment ça fonctionne, hein, puisqu'il y a les deux centres et qu'apparemment, si j'ai bien compris, c'est là où elle va en venir, les exercices qu'ils font au niveau de la motricité, je pense, sont un soutien. Mais en tout cas, c'est que pour l'instant, ce qu'on sait, c'est que quand la compréhension, il y a d'abord une compréhension à l'audition qui se déroule dans une partie du cerveau. Louis, puisque tu es le médecin, je ne sais pas si toi tu veux peut-être plus prendre le relais ou pas, je veux bien, mais
Oui, je suis pas sûr qu'il y ait besoin de rentrer beaucoup dans les détails, mais en gros, il y a différentes aires cérébrales qui vont servir à articuler le langage et qui vont finir dans le lobe frontal où vont se confronter l'envie de dire quelque chose, les souvenirs, les émotions, etc. Et à la fin, produire éventuellement un ordre neuromoteur qui va, mais là, elle en a pas encore parlé, mais qui va être tout l'articulé, la tension du voile du palais, la langue, la tension des cordes vocales, etc. pour arriver enfin à un articulé et une phonation. Donc une extraordinaire complexité dans l'ensemble du processus.
C'est aussi pour dire que la zone de la compréhension du langage n'est pas la même zone que la zone de la parole, en fait, qui donne accès à la parole. Et donc, nos enfants, en fait, ils ont accès à la compréhension, ils n'ont pas accès à l'expression.
I think I'm catching with my limited.
Okay. Well,
yeah, those language centers are working, but there's some breakdown between getting that to the motor strip and then either making the lips, the articulators go, or poke a letter or type an email. So the good news is with neuroplasticity, when you start practicing a specific skill over and over and over again, you make new pathways.
Okay.
So,
yes, this is very important.
Yeah.
Oui, donc ce qu'elle disait, c'est que avec les exercices vraiment moteurs, tous les différents exercices, du fait de la neuroplasticité, ça permet de recréer ou de rétablir des connexions à l'intérieur du cerveau et donc qui vont aussi permettre d'acquérir des nouvelles compétences.
Yeah. And then the brain doesn't, what our experience has been, the brain doesn't know, hey, this pathway is just for spelling. What it knows is this pathway is for purposeful movement or intentional movement. So often speech does improve, right? So you don't have to pick one or the other. You don't have to do just speech therapy or spelling, like either or. You can do both and, because they will support communication no matter what.
C'est ça. Donc, ce qu'elle explique, c'est qu'en fait, voilà, le cerveau n'est pas sélectif une fois qu'il va rétablir ses connexions. Ça va bénéficier à différents domaines, en fait, voilà, à l'intérieur du cerveau. Et puis après, ça va améliorer aussi différents types de compétences, à la fois moteurs et de compréhension. Ouais. Moi, j'ai une question. Ouais,
question, moi aussi.
Oui. Yes. Vas-y.
Tout le travail, en fait, et c'est un vrai travail, en fait, c'est de rétablir le mouvement volontaire, en fait, la commande volontaire. C'est-à-dire que nos enfants sont pris dans des impulsions, des choses qu'ils ne veulent pas. Et c'est pour ça que parfois, ils ont un langage qui n'est pas fiable. C'est parce qu'ils pensent quelque chose, mais ce qui va sortir de leur bouche, c'est autre chose. Et que quand ils ralentissent et qu'ils passent par le cerveau, le raisonnement, etc., et par écrit, ça va être beaucoup plus fiable dans leur communication. Donc, ce qu'on veut travailler, c'est ça, c'est cet entraînement à « je veux faire ça et je fais ce que je veux et je vais pas faire ou dire autre chose, en fait. I'm just saying that it's about intentional movement and intentional speech as well. That's why, and when we slow down and use the letterboard, they're more reliable than even what they think. They can express really what they think and not just automatic speech or whatever.
On a l'impression dans le film qu'un certain nombre d'enfants ou de jeunes adultes ont des hyperesthésies On en voit certains avec un casque sur les oreilles pour se protéger des bruits trop forts, on a l'impression. Est-ce que c'est une norme chez les autistes non parlants d'avoir cette hyperesthésie, cette sorte d'hyperstimulation en permanence? Est-ce que le fait de mettre un casque ou de les protéger de ça améliore l'apprentissage par ailleurs kinétique? Et ça, c'est ma première question. Et puis la deuxième partie, c'est voilà, les praxis, tout ce qui est faire des mouvements particuliers, etc. Là, on a parlé d'apraxie ou de dyspraxie. Donc cette difficulté d'articuler un mouvement au fond. Mais j'ai l'impression qu'il y a une transformation chez ces enfants à partir du moment où ils se mettent à épeler, et une transformation physique. Comme si ils avaient moins d'attitudes vicieuses ou de choses comme ça. Est-ce que c'est le cas? Presque on a l'impression qu'ils deviennent plus beaux de pouvoir communiquer aussi quelque part. Tu veux traduire, Senta?
Tu vas traduire. Non. Non, vas-y.
C'est ce que je disais dans la première partie, mais je vais prendre la deuxième partie. The second part of what I said,
I'm joking.
The first part I was asking you, in the movie we can see that some of the persons have a helmet for the sound or things like that, and it appears like to be a kind of a hyperhethesis where they have feelings which are
yeah, they have hypersensitivities a lot.
Sensitivity everywhere. Is it normal for all of them? And is there a link between this hypersensitivity and how they can spell after? Is there a relationship between that? And the second part I was talking about was the idea that it was not only a one-way learning. Meaning they have a good cognitive thing and everything's all right, and it appears that we need to have better praxis, but that the praxis was also changing them physically. During the time of the movie, I just thought that they were changing because of aging, but also because of spelling and being more beautiful in some way, you know, pretty for them in some way. Is it an impression, or is there really a physical change in while they're spelling?
Oh, that's an incredible observation. You know,
Two very good questions. I'll go backwards first. They change the first week. They start changing the first week. As soon as they know someone sees them for their potential and that they've been in there, their self-esteem goes up long before they're openly answering questions on a letterboard. That's why when we talk about research to support spelling, I'm like, there's research, there's efficacy that spelling works just when you watch the family ecosystem improve, right? Not that it's all rainbows and unicorns, by the way, right? Because they still have autism and they still have health challenges and they can get dysregulated or injurious. I mean, things, you know, they're not cured of their challenges, but they absolutely start physically and definitely emotionally changing from day one or day two. Do you need to translate any of that before I do the other question?
Oui, donc c'est ce qu'elle venait de dire, c'est qu'en fait, dès la première semaine, dès le premier jour, on commence vraiment à voir des changements, voilà, à la fois dans la famille, même si, bon, voilà, il reste, après, c'est pas miraculeux dans le sens où ils ont toujours leurs difficultés. Je veux dire, ça reste des autistes avec des difficultés sensorielles, des comportements, etc. Mais on voit un changement et dans la famille et effectivement, pratiquement sur le visage de la personne. Et bon, c'est sûr que ça doit aussi, le fait de pouvoir enfin s'exprimer. Yes.
And that reminds me of a quick story. The first day that my son, Evan, answered an open question for his teacher, she was an RPM teacher. She asked him to give another word for God's love. And I looked at my friend and I was like, what? Like, we're both like, what is another word for God's love? And he spelled benevolent. Wow. And he was 12. And I thought, this can't be real, because that seemed so ridiculous, like too much, too smart. You know? So, but once I understood what was happening on the ride home, I looked at him And he was newly 12. So in the United States at 12, you can sit in the front seat of the car with the driver. I don't know what the law is there, but so he's also he had just upgraded to the front.
Wow.
So he's in the front seat and he just spelled benevolent. And I looked at him and I said, no more playing this autism card with me. Like I'm gonna hold you to a much higher expectation.
Okay.
And he smiled.
Wow, amazing story. Donc voilà, elle vient de raconter que en fait lors de la première leçon de RPM c'est rapid prompt méthode, c'est ça? C'est ce que toi Caroline tu as fait aussi avec Soma qui en fait a inspiré, on va dire la méthode Speller si j'ai bien compris.
Oui, aussi, c'est spelling to communicate.
Voilà, c'est ça. Et donc, la première fois qu'en fait, son fils avait 12 ans, qu'il a répondu à une question que son éducatrice lui posait, elle lui avait posé la question en disant est-ce que tu pourrais dis-moi un autre mot pour une autre manière de signifier l'amour de Dieu. Puis déjà, elle écoutait la question, elle s'est dit, mais qu'est-ce qu'il va bien pouvoir dire, quoi? Enfin, c'est quoi cette question? Et puis, effectivement, il a dit bienveillance. Et donc, là, elle était complètement subjuguée, quoi. Et donc, après, ils se sont retrouvés dans la voiture et il venait juste d'avoir 12 ans. Et donc, c'est l'âge où il peut aller devant, on va dire, hein, il peut quitter le siège arrière et venir devant. Et puis, il s'est mis à épeler bienveillance. Et là, elle a dit, bon, là maintenant, il n'est plus question de jouer l'autisme de bas niveau. On va passer à la vitesse supérieure. On va être beaucoup plus, avoir beaucoup plus d'attente en ce qui le concerne. Thank you for this very nice story. Moi, j'ai une question. I have a question for all of you, for Louis, and because of his professional skills and what he mentioned in the beginning. There is, je vais d'abord le dire en français, il y a une histoire qui a été rapportée, qui est assez connue aux États-Unis, d'une autiste non-verbale adulte. Et c'est une histoire qui a été un cas qui a été rapporté par un professeur de Harvard Medical School, qui s'appelle Martha Herbert, et qui était une spécialiste du fonctionnement du cerveau chez les autistes. Et donc, elle raconte ce cas où une jeune femme autiste, je pense, d'environ 25 ans, après on demandera si les autres la connaissent, tout à fait non-verbale, non parlante, pardon, doit se faire opérer. Et je ne sais pas, je crois que c'est une opération orthopédique, quelque chose comme ça. Donc, elle a une anesthésie générale. Et au moment du réveil, dans ce moment un peu où on est encore entre deux mondes, sa mère est à côté d'elle, bien sûr, à son chevet. Et elle commence à parler. Elle commence à parler pendant 2, 3, plusieurs heures. Et puis, elle se rendort et enfin, elle ne parlera plus jamais après, ce que j'ai bien compris, j'en sais rien, je ne sais pas où elle en est. Mais donc, c'est une histoire que moi, j'ai toujours trouvé absolument incroyable. Et puisqu'on a un intensiviste avec nous, je me suis dit, c'est l'occasion de la poser et voir si peut-être Brian ou Dawnmarie ont jamais entendu parler de cette histoire. Brian, I don't know. I just told the story about this case that Martha Herbert reported of a patient who had to go down. She was completely non-speaker. She went down for a surgery, and then after, when she woke up from a complete anesthesia, she started speaking for several hours, and then went to sleep again, and the speech was gone. I don't know if you ever heard about this case. I mean, I know it's a bit out of the topic right now, but Louis is, anesthesiologist also. So, I mean, I'm intrigued. Have you ever heard about this story or not?
I have heard about the story. I do know that under certain situations and under certain circumstances, even with my own son, especially when he runs a fever, his communication abilities are better. And there's just something about that causes cells that are essentially dormant in order to start functioning. There's a researcher in University of California, San Diego, who has a theory about that. I'll stop so you can translate. Yes.
Yes. Ok, donc il dit que oui, il en a déjà entendu parler et que, par exemple, chez son fils, quand il a de la fièvre, apparemment, il voit des améliorations aussi et ça inhiberait certaines cellules ou réveillerait, je ne sais pas, non, ça réveillerait des cellules dormantes. Peut-être Louis, tu veux reprendre cette partie parce que moi, j'y comprends rien du. Voilà, je suis que journaliste. Hein. Mais bon, apparemment, il y a un chercheur à San Diego qui s'est intéressé à la question et qui a une théorie là-dessus. Et on va en savoir plus. Yes, please.
The researcher's name is Robert Navio, and he has come up with a theory called the cell danger response. And his theory is that the cells that are under, essentially attack from toxins, from oxidative stress, sometimes even, prenatal stress, psychosocial stress on the part of the mom, the cells go into sort of a survival mode. But one of the things that brings the cells out of a survival mode, at least parts of them, and can create neural connections are things like fever and infection.
Interesting. Donc, ce qu'il dit, c'est que ce chercheur qui s'appelle Robert Navio, en fait, sa théorie, c'est qu'il y a une sorte de réponse cellulaire, on va dire, à des situations de danger, je sais pas moi, la toxicité ou tout type de stress, y compris par exemple psychologique, et qu'en fait, ces cellules pourraient se mettre quelque part en mode de survie, et donc à ce moment-là, voilà, avoir une réaction différente, on va dire. Et que quand on fait une fièvre, justement, on est en... Là, justement, il se passe une activation pour réagir, on va dire, à ce mode dormant, et c'est ça qui amènerait des changements. Louis, dis-nous quelque chose.
Je suis pas sûr de pouvoir dire quelque chose d'intéressant là-dessus. Peut-être en réanimation, on sait que, lors d'un sepsis, il y a des troubles cognitifs qui apparaissent, des troubles neuronaux. Il y a un dérèglement aussi du système sympathique et parasympathique et de toute la balance finalement du système neurovégétatif. Ça, c'est des conditions physiologiques et pathologiques qui font déjà varier l'état à la fois psychologique, affectif, cognitif, métacognitif. Et donc, ils sont influencés par une infection ou un moment de fièvre. Peut-être certains d'entre vous ont vu pendant le Covid d'ailleurs des gens qui avaient beaucoup de fièvre ou qui étaient pas bien et qui commençaient à déconner à plein tuyaux avec une espèce de grande labilité du discours et une hyperproductivité du discours, etc. The first point is during sepsis or during an aggression, there could be a cognitive impairment or a metacognitive impairment, time reference impairment also, and a big change into the neurological functioning, and we can see that during bacterial sepsis, but also during viral sepsis, and it was obvious during COVID-19, where people were at the beginning of the COVID-19, and then what was called the cytokinic storm, they were like crazy, doing strange things, speaking a lot, and not aware of how bad they were. So it's really common for us that when people are much attacked by something from the exterior, everything is changing in the functioning. And for us, when somebody is infected after surgery, for instance, the first sign before fever, before white cell count getting up, is that they're not functioning normally in the way they speak, in their orientation in time and space, and they're kind of confused and speaking of things, and they can tell you, talk about the former president of being the regular one or things like that. So this is really common. as far as the anesthesia are concerned, we are using whole kind of drugs impairing the function of the brain, and so we can selectively impair memory or impair other thing. Ketamine is really different from another anesthetic, and all the different agents are and for us, neuroscience is kind of a playground. With all the drugs that we have, we can impair some kind of zones and all. And in Parkinson, we can put electrodes in some places, and the dyskinesia or akinesia of Parkinson is starting to get better because of stimulation in the brain with electric stimulation there. So it doesn't surprise me much that things can happen. And you can also wonder why in TDAH, dans le TDAH, vous pouvez vous demander aussi pourquoi est-ce qu'on donne de la Ritaline, qui est un psychostimulant. Why are we giving Ritalin, which is a psychostimulant? Not, and what's happening there? They have too much hyperactivity and impairment of concentration and attention, and we're giving them a psychostimulant, something which is speeding up the functioning of the brain. So I don't have an answer for all that.
Okay, thank you. I think this has already been fascinating and a long discussion. I'm really looking forward to us meeting soon. Donc voilà, merci. Je pense qu'on arrive quand même petit à petit. C'est déjà été une longue discussion. Et puis voilà, on se réjouit en tout cas de voir déjà ensemble. Il y aura le 25 et le 26 avril. Donc on sera à Bruxelles et puis à Paris avec ces 2 journées sur l'autisme. Il y aura Louis, il y aura Brian, il y aura Caroline. Il y a une question, voilà, justement, j'aimerais bien qu'on puisse encore répondre à celle-là avant de clore un peu l'émission et puis de redonner tous les détails. C'est la question pour Caroline. Je crois, comment pouvoir se former avec vous, Caroline? Je travaille dans une IME.
Oui, en fait, nous, on a mis sur notre site web RPM en français, il s'appelle le site web.org. Et voilà, mais je peux laisser aussi, je ne sais pas comment c'est possible de laisser mes coordonnées ou quoi, mais en tout cas, on fait des ateliers en ligne. Et donc, a priori, c'est plus facile, à la fois pour les professionnels et pour les parents, de pouvoir les suivre. Et après, en fait, l'idée, c'est d'accompagner par des vidéos feedback aussi la pratique, parce que ça ne suffit pas de faire les ateliers. La théorie, c'est bien, et la pratique, c'est mieux aussi. Donc, on fait un peu les deux ensemble, mais en ligne, dans un format assez court, en fait, 2 heures à chaque fois, et pour pouvoir progresser dans l'apprentissage et pouvoir se lancer surtout voilà. Ça, c'est ce qu'on propose avec mon amie Virginie qui est à Paris. Voilà. Qu'est-ce que je peux dire?
Merci beaucoup. Peut-être je vais, avant de parler du congrès, je vais d'abord encore donner la parole à Dawnmarie et Brian. Before I speak a little more about, those 2 conference days, I would just, let you have a last word for tonight. What would you like to say? Perhaps you, Brian, first.
Well, I am so thankful for the Spellers Method. I'm so thankful for Dawnmarie Gaivin and Dana Johnson. They changed my son's life. They changed my family's life. We in some respects, he's got a lot of work to do. We've all got a lot of work to do as families, but I really felt like I got my son back. So I am eternally grateful.
Voilà, donc it's nice to hear. Donc Brian expliquait que déjà il remercie surtout en premier Dawnmarie Gaivin et Dana Johnson qui sont les fondatrices de la méthode, et que voilà, il sera éternellement reconnaissant parce que ça a vraiment changé la vie de leur fils et puis de toute leur famille, même s'il y a encore des progrès à accomplir, mais voilà, ça a vraiment été transformateur. You, Dawnmarie.
And yes, I just want to say thank you for having me and for translating the documentary into French. It was a good, what's the word? It was a good refresher. My family spoke French. My mom had to learn English in school. So thank you so much for having us. And if you have a child who's a non-speaker or a minimal speaker or unreliable speaker, just know that there are many paths to getting your child to communicate more robustly. And don't give up, because you always think your child's the one who can't do it. But if they can move their arm, if they can move their hand and have ever learned to do anything, they can learn to do this.
Thank you so much. Donc voilà, elle nous remercie de l'avoir invité et d'avoir sous-titré le film en français. Et donc voilà, je pense que c'est vraiment une invitation à tout le monde qui a un enfant non-verbal, non parlant, pardon, excusez-moi, de pratiquer la méthode. Et il faut vraiment pas avoir peur, se dire non, ça va pas marcher pour moi. Pratiquement tout le monde peut y arriver. À partir s'ils peuvent bouger le bras et la main, voilà, ça vaut la peine d'essayer. Donc je pense que maintenant il faut qu'on y aille. Voilà. Louis, petit mot de la fin.
Si je prends, un grand merci Senta de nous avoir conviés. Un grand merci à tous ceux qui sont autour de la table. Moi, je suis très admiratif et je suis très admiratif aussi de la puissance narrative du film. Chaque fois qu'on met du témoignage, que des gens s'expriment sur ce qu'ils ont vécu et sur ce qu'ils vivent, ça rend humble en tant que médecin et ça pousse à questionner notre propre création du savoir. Comment est-ce qu'on crée le savoir aujourd'hui par des études multicentriques randomisées? Pas sûr, non. Le vrai savoir et les vrais savoir-faire viennent là, en l'occurrence, des patients, des familles et des gens qui en prennent soin au quotidien. Et ça, je pense que ça devrait nous questionner même sur l'ensemble de notre création du savoir en médecine. So thank you very much, Dawnmarie. Thank you, Caroline and Brian and Senta. I'm really grateful for all what you do and impressed and admiring. And it pushes me to being humble as a doctor, as I see that most of what is appearing for treating and helping this person is coming from the family and the patient themselves, and not coming from any industry or any big randomized controlled trial, which is going to prove that it's efficient. And no, it's coming from the very bottom, from the really people who are living the disease. And I think it must question the way we provide the knowledge in medicine and in science, trying to go back to grassrooted knowledge. And things are changing a bit in France. The recommendation about autism has changed with the high authority of health and putting the family in the center of the decision process. And it's, for me, it's enthusiastic, and I admire also the narrative power of the documentary and the way it opened doors. And I think in other fields of medicine, we should be able to tell another story and to tell something else and to open up the enthusiasm of the people.
Mille merci d'être là aussi, justement pour parrainer les 2 journées que nous organisons à... J'espère qu'on est toujours en ligne. Non, c'est fini?
Non, je ne sais pas.
Voilà. Bon, en tout cas, voilà, je vais continuer. Donc, pour organiser ces 2 journées sur l'autisme, des pistes pour avancer. Donc, le 25 à Bruxelles, le 25 avril à Bruxelles, on va parler plus spécifiquement l'après-midi de voilà, c'est très bien, merci, de passer l'affiche. Donc voilà, nos invités d'honneur, professeur Marie Hollande, président de Children's Defense, qui fait aussi cette méthode avec son fils, Brian Hooker, que nous avons vu aujourd'hui, notre parrain Louis Fouché, et puis si on peut voir le programme, merci beaucoup, qui est sur le verso de l'affiche. Bon. Eh bien, donc au programme, on aura le matin des présentations, je dirais, un petit peu plus générales, notamment une présentation de Sylvie Benet, qui est naturopathe, qui a aussi sorti son fils, on va dire, de l'autisme et qui a beaucoup travaillé avec des médecins et des nutritionnistes aux États-Unis et qui est vraiment quelqu'un qui est un petit peu à l'interface entre les parents, les nutris, les éducateurs, les médecins, et qui va proposer une approche, je veux dire justement multifactorielle. Comment, je pense que c'est vraiment l'objectif de ces 2 journées, comment on va pouvoir rassembler nos compétences et aussi notre expérience pour essayer de faire avancer les choses. L'après-midi, toujours à Bruxelles, on va spécifiquement parler de tout ce qu'on peut faire donc pour les non-parlants ou les troubles de la parole. Donc, ce n'est pas uniquement les autistes, bien entendu, ce n'est pas uniquement ceux qui n'ont absolument pas de langage. Évidemment, on a bien compris qu'aujourd'hui, ce qui s'applique à ceux qui n'ont pas de parole, a fortiori, pour ceux chez qui c'est simplement peut-être des formes moins sévères d'apraxie ou de dyspraxie, ce sont évidemment les mêmes principes, voilà, la motricité, le cerveau, la même plasticité. Donc, on va parler de ça. Il y aura des conférences sur l'aspect biomédical, hein, donc tout ce qu'on peut faire aussi au niveau d'une intervention par la nutrition, la détox, etc. Ce dont moi j'ai l'expérience. On aura une intervention au niveau d'une approche par l'homéopathie, qui peut aussi tout à fait contribuer de manière significative, notamment par la détoxination. Et puis, il y aura spécifiquement aussi Caroline qui va faire une présentation des RPM, Caroline et Brian, qui vont nous parler de RPM, spellers, et donc de tout ce qu'on vient d'évoquer aujourd'hui. Et le programme continue le lendemain à Paris. À Paris, ce sera plus le matin. Brian va nous présenter un sujet différent qui sera une revue d'ensemble, je dirais, de toute la science qu'on a aujourd'hui sur l'autisme et les atypies aux États-Unis. Est-ce qu'il y a des nouveaux développements au niveau de la recherche, au niveau des interventions médicales, de ce que fait par exemple le secrétaire à la santé et Kennedy, etc. Et puis, donc, on aura des présentations. Dr Martine Gardenal qui sera là, donc une homéopathe. On aura une présentation de Dr Mena. Bien sûr, Louis sera toujours là pour conseiller, donner son avis. On aura des tables rondes durant les 2 journées. Et l'après-midi, ce sera vraiment plus consacré à écouter aussi la parole d'autres parents d'associations, notamment Marie Perazzi, qui est avocate, qui dirige une association, qui avait évidemment aussi un fils autiste, et de se mettre ensemble, puisque maintenant on comprend bien à quel point il est important de pouvoir se réunir entre les différents intervenants. Pour moi, il est important de comprendre que l'expérience qu'on a en tant que parent, à la fois en tant qu'expert de son propre enfant, mais aussi en communiquant avec d'autres parents, avec les recherches que nous faisons et qui ne sont pas uniquement des chemins qui sont balisés, comment on va pouvoir articuler tout ça ensemble entre voilà, médecins, patients, éducateurs, thérapeutes et autres. Voilà, je ne sais pas si Louis et Caroline, vous voulez encore rajouter un petit mot là-dessus.
I just wanted to thank you so much for making this documentary. This film is amazing. It's going to move here, hopefully in Europe, because of the translation that we have now. It's going to move lots of things here. Et donc je voulais les remercier pour ce documentaire magnifique, parce que je pense que ça va vraiment faire avancer beaucoup de choses ici en francophonie. Et je dis aussi que c'est une méthode qui requiert quand même beaucoup de persévérance, et que voilà, on va y arriver. J'espère avoir nos spellers francophones et toute notre communauté de professionnels aussi qui se lancent là-dedans. I do hope we in the future, very soon, we'll have French speaking spellers, hopefully very soon, and professionals also here being able to do that.
Ok, thank you. Merci à tous. Tout dernier mot, on a fait pas mal d'interventions ces jours-ci, donc je remercie sur les médias, on va dire, je ne sais plus si on doit dire alternatifs, parce que je pense qu'ils sont en train de, de devenir principaux. Mais voilà, il y a BAM qu'on remercie, qui vient de publier une interview que j'ai faite avec Caro, où on parle du congrès. Essentiel News, bien entendu, puisque on est là sur Essentiel News. Je pense qu'il y a eu une interview qui a été faite sur Toxin de Dr Marie Dr Gardenal hier matin, vendredi matin. Il y en a encore à venir. Moi, j'en ai parlé sur Nexus. Là, je pense que c'était vendredi, dans l'émission de vendredi dernier. Et il y aura une émission sur GPTV le week-end prochain. Donc, merci à vous tous de regarder, partager, liker, passer la bonne parole. Voilà, un tout grand merci. Et merci à Akina et Alex en coulisses.
Merci.